another friend, seduced by your beaches and your wonderful shores. Oh, girl, I've seen it before. Anna Maria, you've done it again. Some days I walk the beach, look for her face. I wonder if my Kansas girl took the leap of faith. Whenever I tell the story at that castaway bar, we click our glasses twice, hope she's not too far. And oh, Anna Maria, you've done it again. You've cast your net so wide, you've found another friend, seduced by your beaches and your wonderful shores. Oh, girl, I've seen it before. Anna Maria, you've done it again. Anna Maria, you've done it again.
And now, coming to you live from the Chocolate Bar Studios, Tropical Country with B-Dawg and Lou.
I like the steel drums played with the steel guitar. I go to honky-tonks and to tiki bars. I like girls in bikinis and wearing tight blue jeans. I like the fiddle played with marimba thrown in and a conga drum beat behind the mandolin. I was raised in the country but still love the sound of the sea. I wear a cowboy hat with my bathing suit. I'm just a country boy who likes to sit under a palm tree.
Yeah, I'm actually just using a messenger.
Tropical country.
Oh yeah, it's Wednesday night and it's Hump Day! Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the 1-year anniversary show of Tropical Country here on Tikimanradio. I got an echo.
Really bad. All the mics are like really super hot.
They're super hot.
Yeah, with an echo.
That's new. Hold on.
I know. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hold on. How's that?
I don't know. That's a little bit better.
That a little bit better?
For me, anyways.
Better for you? Better for you?
How about you guys?
All right.
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, everything's been rearranged here in the studio. We got some new equipment, and yeah, we're getting a really bad echo for some odd reason.
Good Lord.
Ooh.
Hey, Eric Smith. Sorry about that.
Not the way to start off the 1-year anniversary show.
Well, you know.
Well, hey, Laura Lou is over there saying hello.
Hi, everybody. We're going to get it figured out. Hang in there.
We will. Hey, Golden, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay. Yeah, man.
And of course, Mr. Dave Sines is in the studio.
It's a party.
He's partying with us tonight.
You know, we asked Golden to get some.
It's like the Penn Karen.
We asked Golden to pick up the party favors, and I wanted these little whistles, and of course he got the ones that are silent.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Look at Dave.
They didn't have any other ones.
Show Dave.
Have you seen the Ben Karen ad? You get just about right here. Peronis.
I think you guys are a little too excited about this show tonight.
Oh no! Well, I'll tell you what. How about we kick in and welcome everybody to the show, and we'll get our little audio problem here fixed. All right.
Sounds
all right,
good.
little Kojo.
There's a party going on around town. It's one rowdy cowboy throwdown. here in H-Town, where we're stronger than a hurricane. From miles around, the best of the best come here to put their tough to the test. Give it all for gold or go home broke when they open up that gate. Welcome to the show, welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show, are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight, where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show. It's a Houston tradition, 4-H, FFA, and go Texan. And you can bet, son, it's gonna be around a long, long time. When these riders and ropers give it their best, we'll show them how loud the hometown crowd can get. 'Cause tonight, y'all, we all got a little bit of cowboy deep inside. Welcome to the show, welcome to the home of the world's biggest rodeo, where the stars light up the night underneath that Texas sky. Welcome to the show, are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight, where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, are you ready for a ride? Yeah, you better buckle up and hold on tight, where the Bayou City streets meet the country roads. Where the Bayou City streets meet these country roads. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Oh, okay. So you got a little bit of a static is what it is. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm just the maintenance guy turning in here, so just give me just a second here.
You've been here all evening, sir.
That'd be the one.
Let's see here.
Pay no attention.
Maybe, hold on, everybody just bear with me here. Let's see. This is that one. So say something.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Say something now.
How about now?
All right. That's good.
Sounded better?
Yeah, sounds fine. It's got a little bit of a static somewhere.
And the squeal.
That one's might be pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what it is?
Mike.
I'll tell you what it is. Hold on just a second. Is everybody just bear with us here.
Sorry, guys. Hang out for a second. Hey, Maureen. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah. Let's see. We get a little crowd going in there. Let's see here.
Z&G. Nice to see you. And Christopher Ferrara.
Smack down here.
Hey, Giraffe. Good gracious.
Hello, everybody. Hello, darling. All right, so unplug that microphone. All right, no. There's a button there. Now plug it back in.
Good gracious. Sorry, everybody. Oh, Lord.
let's play a song.
Yeah.
Let's play a song, everybody, right quick, and hang tight with us.
It's been a lot of fun, but the set list is all done. The night was very loud and you've been a good crowd, but you know it's time to run. You've all been very kind, thank you for your time. You put me to the test as I try to address all of your requests for the night. As we look to the moon and the manager's protocol. Well, I don't ever want to end, but for now, my friends, last song, last call. A spirit with his clientele, and the drinks are flowing well. A beer sent from the bar and a healthy tip jar. A handsome tune.
I don't know why that does that. Let's see here. How about now?
That's better, I think. Yeah, that sounds much better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see here, everybody. Just bear with me here. Give me just a second here.
It's whatever button you just pushed.
All right. How about now?
Check, check,
That's
check,
better.
check.
Check.
Check 1, check 2,
Yeah.
check 3.
Sounds
How am I sounding? Sound good.
sounds normal.
Listen, don't worry. You know, your
Sounds better.
up in smoke management is not going to
That sounds more normal.
Up in smoke. That's not the name of your cooking show, is it?
No.
It's called Golden's Mess. Golden's Mess. Come on over here and cook with us.
Yeah.
Let me fix this a little bit. All right. All right, everybody. I'm just the maintenance guy. Don't worry about it. All right. Everything's going to be just fine.
Had a long day.
Here
He
you go.
filled the work order. All is well.
All right. Now you can start your show.
Hey, thanks, Danny.
Oh my goodness.
Mulligan.
You know what? We did our 1-year anniversary starting out the same way we did our first show.
This is exactly how the very first show went.
You know, some things are meant to be.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
right.
Well, you know,
Is everybody having flashbacks?
Yeah, they're from the 1960s for me, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I was just over here sitting in the corner going, all right, I quit. If this is what 2022 is bringing, I'm done. I just quit. Oh my goodness! Because for those of you who don't know, Sunday we started out. The Tiki Man got brand new microphones here in the studio, and we had problems with those microphones the entire show. Mm-hmm. So he's like, going back to the old microphones. Well, then
Just had to make some adjustments.
all the settings in the board were for the other microphones.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, these microphones have the stickers on them. The other ones didn't.
that's right.
That's right.
Without
These
the
ones-
stickers, they
Without
sound
the
different.
stickers, they
That's
they just sound horrible.
Yeah, it's a
You're
whole
right,
different
Dave.
deal.
Oh
It's
my
all about
goodness.
the sticker.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
You know,
I'm
it's-
glad to be here.
It's pretty bad when you have your sponsor in the studio and you just flub everything up.
Oh, it's pretty fun.
He's enjoying it.
Well, I guess that's probably one thing about being an artist that's probably happened to you a dozen times or so.
Oh yeah, at least.
Once or twice.
Yeah,
That's funny.
sure.
Well,
Or Dave.
Well, before we get everything started, we need to start where we should have started in the beginning. Is you're listening to Tropical Country here on Tikimanradio.
Yeah.
We are coming to you live from the Chocolate Bar Studios here in beautiful Harrison Bay, Tennessee, overlooking the majestic Chickamauga. And of course, we are broadcasting live on Tikiman Radio, tikimanradio.com, and on the Tikiman Radio YouTube page, courtesy of MFG Records Tropical Live Cam. And of course, our show is brought to you by JBL Legends Travel. JBL Legends Travel, they're one call away from anywhere. Give them a call at 732-831-5200. All right, now we got that. We've already said the hello, so we're just kind of moving and as we go along.
Perfect.
Everybody good with that?
That's
Absolutely.
the right way to go forward. Is just go forward.
Just plow
Just
along.
do it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So Dave, how you been?
I've been well.
Good. Got a lot of things going on.
Seems like it, you know. It seems like You know, the dishes. Got mow the yard. We had a big storm, so I got to pick pine cones out of the yard. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's that, and
That's
then,
with Beth Travers.
and then
That's-
you did
that's
music on the side, right?
Music on the side, right. Yeah, actually, I'm just finishing a new project on myself.
Oh yeah.
Got a brand new thing I can't say anything about with one of my buddies. So we're about 6 or 8 Troprock artists together that everyone will know.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It'll be released in about a week, and we'll make sure y'all have it. So
Oh,
we're
great.
doing some real fun things in the studio. So
That's awesome.
Very cool. Well, we talked before the show started about that you are our very first spotlight artist, and with
that is so awesome. Thank you so
we
much.
couldn't think of a
You're
better
welcome.
person to start with.
Oh, that's terrific.
And what we're going to do is a lot of people are used to hearing just the regular interviews and about what you got going on in the current events and things like that. But as I said, we're going to open up the hood and dive in a little bit deep to
Okay.
learn more about you, because you've had a very long career in music.
Are you saying I'm old?
I'm just saying you've had an illustrious career. So.
I'm just saying I was saying I'm old. Yes.
A lot of career
Yeah.
packed into a few years.
Yeah.
How's
I
that?
tried to condense it down into about 65. So.
So I guess, as they say, we need to start back where it all began. How did you actually get into music?
Well, my dad sang in Southern Gospel Quartets, so I grew up around music, and I played in church. I grew up. My dad was a preacher. I grew up in church. So I grew up in Michigan, and he had a regional group up there. That's they would have the groups like the Blackwood Brothers and the Statesmen, some Imperials. These groups that were out of the South and were doing all this Southern gospel, Memphis gospel. They would
That's
come
some
up
cool
to
stuff.
the region where I grew up and play.
Right.
And in southeastern Michigan, there's a huge country music influence because all the automobile factories are there. We have tons of people that move from the South. So a lot of country music and a lot of musical influence. So that was really my first exposure and access to play, was playing Christian music. And I moved to Nashville in 1972
Okay.
to work with a band that had a record deal. And I'm a piano player, really by trade, and I started out with
Really?
them, and then just
Wow.
kind of went from there.
I did not know that. See,
I'm
it's
still
something new we've
trying to
learned.
learn how to play the guitar, actually.
Well, for just learning, you do pretty good.
I've seen some guys that were really good, and I stole what I could. I usually try to get them to play my guitar and leave a couple licks on it for me. They're good guys, So.
So you played in a band there in Nashville. How long did you play with the band?
Oh gosh! So my first couple years in Nashville, I was real young, and where I was from, I was one of the better musicians around. When I moved to Nashville, it was very clear to me I couldn't hit my ass with both hands. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I really truly got my lunch ate, and I moved back to Michigan for a couple 3 years. Learned what I figured out. Well, what I learned the first time I was in Nashville was what I didn't know. And what I needed to learn to be able to go there and have any kind of success. So I spent some time and effort doing that, and then moved back to Nashville again in 1980, and have been there full time ever since. Of course, now we're back and forth to Florida. But I stayed in that band, gosh, I don't know, 6 months maybe. Went through about 4 gospel bands in a period of a year and a half, and then moved back to Nashville, or moved back to Michigan, and then when I came back to Nashville, got involved playing country music at that time. Just found better situations. When you're 17 or 18, 19 years old, which is how old I was in those years, you don't have any money. You don't know anybody. You don't know that much about life. You don't really know how to do business. You don't know what you're doing. So you just kind of got to figure it out. So I got very fortunate, and I had a couple really good, well-positioned people, I guess would be the best thing to say, help me, teach me, put me in front of other people, introduce me to folks, and really help my career a lot. So.
You got a Miyagi.
And Miyagi. I had a good couple.
Miyagi.
I had a couple of them, but
Sweet.
for sure.
Now, did I hear right that you were one of the house players for the Grand Ole Opry at one point?
No, I worked for I worked the Grand Ole Opry for years. But I worked for a gentleman named Johnny Russell.
Oh, okay.
Johnny Russell. So I've played with the house band a lot, as a lot of us have.
Yeah.
And I've subbed my friend Tim Atwood, who was the house. Most of the years I was at the Opry, he was the piano player in the house band. Before that, Jerry, I can't even think of Jerry's name, was there. I remember when Tim got the gig. So I've subbed in and out in different spots. But the artist I worked for, Johnny Russell, was Johnny had a record back when I was in high school in the 70s called Rednecks, White Sox, and Blue Ribbon Beer.
I remember that.
And then he had another called Catfish John.
Yes.
There was his only 2-hit records. But he didn't write either of those. But what he did write was Act Naturally, which Ringo Starr recorded.
Oh, wow.
And Buck Owens recorded. And
That's a hit for Buck.
Yeah, he wrote things for Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris and Dolly Parton. He wrote George Strait. He wrote a lot of hits for a lot of people.
Wow.
So working with John was interesting because, one, the Opry, it's hard to get an Opry gig that amounts to anything because it's not a high-paying thing. But if you have the right position there, you work a lot. So Opry still does this, as far as I know. In the summer, there's about 9 months that they do matinees, like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoons. They'll do like 5 times a week. There's an afternoon matinee show for tourists, and then there's the regular Opry Friday night and Saturday night. Saturday night's 2 shows. They turn the house. Mm-hmm. So you could work 8 Opry spots. They paid about, I think take home was about $104 when I left, which was 2002. The first show I worked at Opry was in 1972, and it paid $12.
Wow.
It was union scale, and everybody just gets scale. Yeah. So I've got probably well over 4,000 appearances there. And actually, most of my pension check through musicians is all from the Grand Ole Opry and Nashville Network in the days of Ralph Emery.
Oh,
that's kind of the era that I really am old, but that's the era that I was around playing on records and working with people.
That was the best era, I feel like.
For me, but I know that if music goes in a circle, and if the circle doesn't keep going, it dies, so it has to continue. So even though sometimes I'm not fond of what I'm hearing on the radio and country music, I'm really thrilled to see young people making it their own. It goes in a big circle. It seems like every number of years it wants to go pop or wants to go whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Somebody comes along like Randy Travis did and goes, he's country as corn. And it was so simple that everyone just loved it. It's like, how can you not identify with something like that?
I think even Randy Travis, if I remember right, he was a waiter. And he had been trying to break in forever, and they said that
Randy was a cook at the Nashville Palace, which is just right across the street from the Opry. We used to go over there and play Monday night shows.
We've
during
been there.
Fair.
Yeah.
Randy was there for years. Worked for John. I'm trying to think of John's last name now. Anyway, he owned the Nashville. John Hobbs.
Oh,
He owned the Nashville Palace for years and years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I knew there was something. He was a waiter. He was working in a restaurant. And they told him that he was too country. They didn't want him.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, everything came around.
Yeah, because right up until then, it was Barbara Mandrell, and
exactly,
which was all fun. But then it was Randy Travis.
Yeah.
3 chords and the truth, as they say.
Yes.
So that was my time at the Opry, really, from the early '80s to the early 2000s. Almost 20 years.
What a cool time to be there.
My kid grew up backstage there in the Nashville Network, So we did a lot of television, a lot of Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, wow.
And then we were opening act. When I worked with John, mostly, we did one of 2 things. The first 4 years I worked with him, Branson was really smoking. It was really hot. Mm-hmm. We were going to Branson. We were playing this theater. It was called Lowe's Theater. And I don't know what it's seated, but I'd say maybe 2,000 people. That 1,500, pretty good sized theater. Yeah. We played 2 shows a day. And we were either always... We would have, because at this time the Nashville Network was really hot, and John was on television all the time, and that was really the thing. He was a great host. So we did things like, we'd have Barbara Fairchild or Jeannie Seeley or, Connie Smith. They would be our opening act, and they would open, and then we would play, and we'd do 2 shows like that. And we would play with the opening act also. We would play with, John's band would play with like Barbara Fairchild or with Connie Smith. So they're the package shows. Or else we were the opening act we worked a lot of fairs and firemen's carnivals up in Pennsylvania, New York State. And I don't know, all over the place, Texas, wherever. And because John hadn't had a hit record on himself in years, but he was still writing for people. Mm-hmm. So, and he was such a good TV host. People liked him to be their opener because he was no threat to their. He didn't have anything current on the radio where Randy Travis did. Right. So we were playing all these great gigs. We just get in a bus and go out, play somebody else's gear, show up and play for 45 minutes and go home. If the bus breaks down, they pay you and send you another buzz to get you. It's like, yeah, that was a good
amazing.
gig for almost 2 decades. Yeah,
wow,
very good. Worked with some really brilliant players in that time frame. Yeah.
I bet.
So do you have any cool stories or any stories that you can share during your time at the Grand Ole Opry?
Oh yeah, a lot of Grand Ole Opry stories. Gosh. Oh, let me think here. All right. Well, so it's famed the sound man. It's a lot of stuff. So the way the Opry worked, it still works this way. The backstage has changed a lot, but in the days that I was there, the backstage was you could pretty much bring your kids or your wife, or in my case, I had a commercial recording studio, was in that business, so I would bring my clients out. They used to just walk them in with you backstage, and it was no big deal. They've changed that at this point. You can't do it quite the same way. So there was always interesting stuff and good, there are a lot of picking going on in the rooms, and the artists were always available to talk with. But well, here's a good one. So Marty Stewart, when I saw Marty come out, and Marty's I think Marty's about a year younger than I am, and he's married to Connie Smith now. So Marty had a bunch of hit records there for a while. But Marty's a good musician. He's a good player, good guitar player, and good man. He just came out one night, plugged in an orange extension cord over by the podium where maybe Eddie Stubbs was the MC at that time. Run a cord across the stage, plugged an amp in, sat down on his amp, just started playing with whoever was there.
Really?
I was like, okay, that was funny. Oh gosh.
Marty Stewart just sits down and
Marty,
hangs
because
out.
he's there all the time. He grew up like a lot of us. He's spent as a child. I started playing the Opry regularly in early 80s, but from the early 70s through the 80s, I played just from time to time, like a lot of musicians get to do. Mm-hmm. So I am one of the lucky guys that spent. I literally have over I can't quite get an exact number, but over 4,000 times that I've actually played on that stage.
Wow.
But just from all those matinees, Grand Ole Opry shows. But so you'd have people come as guests, like trying to think what's the Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah.
Would hang out there often, and my buddy Johnny
that
Russell,
got Golden's attention.
Yeah. Well, so John liked baseball, and he used to hang out with he and a guy named Tommy Rocco and Dickie Lee used to write together a lot. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, he got to be friends with Lasorda, and I don't know if it was through Dickie and the guys, because those guys lived up in Pennsylvania somewhere, and John wrote with them. They come back and forth, and Danny May also, who wrote Feed Jake, and
what a great song.
Keeper of the Stars, I think, was another one of Danny's songs, who Beth used to write with Danny May a bunch.
Oh, cool.
Travers, yeah. But anyway, so John, just being the kind of smart aleck that he was, said, "Hey folks, we got a buddy here tonight, Tommy Lasorda. Tommy, step out here and say something, So Tommy came out and waved, everybody claps and whatever. And he says, "Hey, you want to sing one?" Thinking, okay, everybody will laugh and he'll leave the stage. Tommy goes, "Yeah." He said, "Let's do Take Me Out the Ball Game in G." And we're all like,
oh, wow.
Looking at each other. So there we are playing Take Me Out to the Ball Game on the Grand Ole Opry with Tommy Lasorda. That was a pretty... We're like, okay, that's probably never going to happen again.
Right. That's a once in a lifetime right there.
Yeah.
There's some stories cool. I can't tell. Right.
Well, those are the ones I was hoping you would tell.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you some, and this is not common knowledge, but it's not like a private. It's not a secret.
Right.
After Mr. Acuff passed away, when they went in and took all the things that were in the dressing room, of course, preserved for history. The Opry is fantastic about preserving country music history. They film all the shows. They've got unbelievable archives, but there was a lot of liquor down under the sink. Because those old boys, they would sit out. They like to drink before they played.
Yeah.
And they'd go in there and have them a couple of snorts and go out there. I got in this beautiful conversation. My brother-in-law Pete was Air Force guy, right? Mm-hmm. And so he and my youngest brother was also Air Force, and they came and visited one time. And I took him to a matinee. So Minnie Pearl was on the matinee. So the way all the matinees worked, and the Friday night and Saturday night show, Roy Acuff opened those shows. He always, the way the Opry works is there's there are 30-minute sections, right? And occasionally they'll break one in 15-minute sections. So in that 30-minute section, there will be a host. So like working with John, the way we would work would be we would go out and play our opener. We usually wouldn't even do the whole song, right? And then John hosts that 30 minutes, and he introduces all the guests. And depending on, and the staff band stays and plays, and depending on who's there, which guest, you may be some of the guys in the artist band that would play with him. So over the years, I couldn't start to tell you with how many. I couldn't tell you all the people that I played with in that situation, But and then at the end of 30 minutes, we'd come back out and play a closer, or maybe play one song. So you're basically hanging out for 30 minutes backstage.
Oh, very cool.
Right. So you get the occasion to just observe over the years. You know what's normal and what's not, and you start to figure things out that are fairly entertaining. The sound guys would do stuff. They had the same sound crew, and they get to know the regular guys that played there every week. So there are a lot of guests that come in. Like the time that I was in the time frame I was there, Vince Gill became a member of the Opry. I saw Clint Black and Garth Brooks the same night. They're both their first time on the Opry the same night. And we were talking about, I remember the conversation of who do we think would be bigger, because they both sounded good and the crowd loved them both.
Yeah.
And we thought it would be Clint Black because his singing was more traditional country.
Right.
We were obviously wrong. But so you got to get to know those guys. You don't become their best friends, but you're acquainted with them. You see them, if they see you out in town, they know you from the Opry and they wave, and that it's that kind of camaraderie that was there at that time. And it's as I say, it's progressed like everything else does.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the coolest period of time. I think back in that time, it was even downtown. They weren't even allowed to have neon lights or anything, right?
I can't tell you. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I
remember
know that
at some point there was a rule or a law or whatever that none of the shops down there on Broadway could have neon lights out. It was all just normal signs.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, my sister-in-law grew up in Nashville, just outside of Nashville, and they used to love Broadway, and it was like the coolest small town big city. That was one of the reasons.
Yeah, Nashville was a very cool. It's still a cool town, but it's really changing fast. Well, when I started working at the Opry, it was at the old Ryman.
Yeah.
The new Opry House wasn't. They were building all that.
Yeah.
So my first two paychecks, one in 72, 73. They're like $1. One's $12. I still have the check stub somewhere. One was like $12. One was like $13. Right?
How cool is that?
And then when it moved to the new Opry House in '74, and of course Opryland opened. It all kind of changed out there that was probably its heyday as far as I would say commercially on television, where the Nashville network was hopping in and so on and so forth. And well, it's like anything though, the time changes and the audience. You lose your audience. They get old, pass away. Some of the stars, pass on. Most of the artists from that era played as long as they could physically play.
Right. Right.
That's what they had, and that's all they knew.
It was amazing.
Yeah. But a lot of I've seen some amazing acts there. I've seen Garth out there many times with just a guitar. Just walk out. Show up. There's a handful of artists like Garth, Vince Gill's another. They just love the Grand Ole Opry. They appreciate what it is. It really is the mother church of country music. It's really a sacred place, and it's really awesome. After all the years I played there, every time I go in, I look at it. I can't believe I'm playing here.
Oh, I bet. I bet. We did a tour one time of the old Ryman.
Yeah.
And just walking in you hear that there's such a special feeling about that building and all this stuff, but it truly, when you walk into the lobby where it's all commercialized now and you have to pay your ticket and all of that, but once you get past that and you walk into the actual auditorium, just from head to toe chills, just the minute you enter those doors.
Yeah.
The history and the soul and, just everything about that building.
It's an amazing place. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's a really great room to play. I mean, the acoustics in it are really wonderful. Well, it was built as a tabernacle.
Right.
Long before there were any sound systems or anything. So, it was built to be able to speak in the whole room here acoustically. So it's really a neat.
It really is.
Got all that great wood and all those original seats. It's really It's a really amazing place.
It is
for
everything
sure.
they say it is.
Oh yeah.
Well, Dave, what I want to do is how we've
Sorry.
been talking a little bit, great conversation and everything, but how about we give a little bit of people some taste of your music?
Sure, that'd be great.
How about
I
the
love
title track off of the Latitude Adjustment record?
Latitude
All right?
Adjustment.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about that whole
All right.
issue of working in the sound studios and
Okay.
everything.
Sorry, I can literally just sit and talk about that all day.
I've been feeling a little cranky, feeling a little blue. I'm in some kind of funk, trying to figure out what to do. Talking ugly to my baby, ugly to my kids. They're all looking at me like, what the hell did we did? First I thought it was 'cause my back's against the wall, affecting my attitude. That's what I thought, but then I figured it out. There ain't no doubt it's my latitude. Yeah, I need a latitude adjustment of the Caribbean kind. Latitude adjustment before I lose my mind. A little time with my baby sure be fine. Dancing round on an island with a bottle of wine. Hey, I need a latitude adjustment. Whoa, a latitude adjustment. It's 50 degrees and the skies are gray. Gives me SAD, man, what can I say? I've been working like a dog in the wind and rain. Gotta get out of this place, change my game. Little time with my baby, show me fun. Dancing around on the Caribbean beach somewhere with a bottle of rum. Yeah, I need a latitude adjustment, the Caribbean kind. A latitude adjustment before I lose my mind. Little time with my baby would sure be sweet. Making out on a blanket on an island beach. Yeah, what can I say, man? I need a latitude adjustment. Don't you know? I need a latitude adjustment. I need a latitude adjustment. I need a latitude adjustment of the Caribbean kind. Latitude adjustment before I lose my mind. Little time with my baby would sure be fine. Dancing around on a beach with a bottle of wine. Yeah. I need a latitude adjustment. Whoa, I need a latitude adjustment. I need a latitude adjustment. Yeah, latitude adjustment. It's not an attitude adjustment. No, no, no. It's a latitude adjustment. Hey, hey, hey.
All right. All right. So I guess we were silent on the radio. Is that
It
what?
was crowd noise.
It was crowd noise.
We were talking here though. It was cool because
Yeah,
it was a good.
cool
It was very entertaining. Actually,
It was very cool here.
I'm glad that we was able to at least find that, right?
exactly.
All right. So So anyway, Dave, you were talking about recording studio because you did a lot of work in a recording studio there in Nashville for a long time. Worked with a lot of people.
Yeah, I started working about 1981 for a guy named Gene Breeden, a place called Gene Breeden Studios. I was a studio manager for about 7 years, and then I built my own studio. Actually, my life there had 3 different rooms. Mm-hmm. But when I was working with Gene had moved here from the West Coast and produced a lot of things for Capitol Records, all the Red Simpson truck driving songs. Mm-hmm. He had done some Dave Dudley. And at this other end of the spectrum was doing jazz fusion, people like Jeff Lorber, mm-hmm. Starship, just really, and he was just one of those guys that was a brilliant guitar player, and it was like a little banty rooster. The guy was very, very entertaining to be around, really cocky, mm-hmm. really talented. He really taught me about engineering and about making records, and he was making records on tons of great people. So I got to, I just got to be involved, not only with great artists. That's an interesting thing, because artists are fun, but most artists in a lifetime, if they have a great career, maybe they'll make 20 or 25 albums, which means they've hit 20 or 25 times that they spent a week or 2 weeks in the studio. But mm-hmm. my life and the guys that I worked with, that's what we did. We were in the studio all day, every day for 40 years. Wow. So we made, wouldn't venture a guess as to how many records I played on, sang on, produced, engineered, some aspect of them, depending on what the call was.
So you are considered a studio musician?
Definitely a studio musician, and even because I was a studio owner also,
right.
for years, produced a lot of records, worked with a ton of people in a lot of interesting situations. The interesting thing about the studio business, I think, in Nashville is that the perception of it that you get from what you see on TV or hear on the radio or just the general thing is we're always talking about the stars and the next new big whatever it is and all that's cool, but it's really the whole core of what happens there is really all about the songwriters and the studios mm-hmm. and the players, because you can take 95% of those country music stars, take their bands away, mm-hmm. and they're one more guy with a guitar.
Right.
There's all this so much other stuff that factors into someone like Alan Jackson. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they're not talented.
Right.
I don't mean that in any way. But you know how many guys there are as talented as someone like Alan Jackson? A lot. There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Way more than you would think. And he's the one that had all the right timing, the right package, the right funding, whatever was the that perfect storm at his time when he became well known.
Right.
It's like, yeah, okay, and he's good enough to back it up. He's a great singer, great performer, fun. He sold well to the general public, the whole thing, but. When you take away the guys like Bruce Watkins who's playing fiddle on that, and guys like we lost a friend, Pig Robbins, who was a piano player that really set that country style of piano. Mm-hmm. Stuff like all the Charlie Rich. Remember all that Charlie Rich stuff?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
The guy who played all that wasn't Charlie Rich. It was a guy named Hargis Pig Robbins, we called him, blind piano player. Those were the guys that really made the Nashville sound. I mean, there are no stars that made the Nashville sound. No, there's some stars that were iconic singers like Johnny Cash, mm-hmm. Ernest Tubb. I don't know. I mean, there's, through the year, Merle Haggard, Garth. Obviously, you hear Garth on the radio, you know who he is, Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of, like any other business, there's a lot of people that are out there working, making a decent living and having a pretty nice life in the music business that will never be the Garth Brookses. That's 95% of the music business of those people.
Well, some of them, that's what they aspire to be. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to be. This is good enough.
Well, see, that's it. There's not room for 100 Garth Brooks.
No.
Yeah, but there's not room for 100 Willie Nelsons. No. But there's 100 singers in Texas making a good living playing Willie's songs and their own songs and whatever. And,
right.
And it's good, but that I think is what actually keeps the music in every genre, whether it's country or pop or in our situation stuff. We talk about tropical music. It's those people that really keep it alive, because that's what the fans have access to on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many times can you go afford to see Willie or Garth or anybody in 1 year as a regular consumer, you know, what, maybe 2, 3 times, 4 times a year. It's $150 or whatever. I don't even know what the tickets are anymore.
Yeah, it's super expensive.
So, but you can afford to go see Joe and the boys down, and they're singing 10 of Garth's songs, and they sound pretty good. Plus, you only got to drive 10 miles home.
Yeah, we're
Right.
going to do that.
That's I mean, that's it. That is what keeps the. I always call it the weekend warriors, but I think that is the heart and soul of the music business. You know, period. So.
Yeah, the independent singer-songwriters out there that are making the music, and you know, I it's fun to, you know, you see the big names, but I tell you, going back, and because I listen to music constantly, I'm constantly looking for new music on the show and things like that, and I'm coming across these names I've never heard of, and I'm just always just kind of amazed, going, how are these guys not, you know?
Well, it's
big
interesting.
names?
You know, we talk about it a lot. Beth and I, Beth Travers and myself. There's stuff we hear, and someone gets big and famous, and you look at your stuff and you go, "How did that happen?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then you hear someone else who's just simply amazing, who's never could get their career off the ground, and you're like, "Why?"
Yeah,
They're so good. Sometimes I think it's just the luck of the draw. You know, there's so much involved. Everybody's like, well, if you do this, do this, do this, do this, then I don't think anybody
There's
really
no
knows.
formula. There's no perfect formula.
No, there's not.
Yes, Laura Luke, I guess, you know, she could tell you, she had a similar experience, you know, an artist that she had been working with, he had been trying out for all these talent shows and things like that. And he had actually went to one where he performed in front of the producers, and you know, he has a very, very strong voice, and it can carry, especially inside of a stadium or arena where they were at. And the crowd got quiet when he began singing, and just immediately caught everybody's attention. And then it's just devastating when you look at a producer looks at you and goes, "Well, thanks for coming."
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, and meanwhile, the guy walks up behind him, can barely carry a tune, but has a gimmick, and he's on to the next round.
Well, there is a level of music. We talk about this a lot of times, playing sessions, or you know, people that most of my friends that I hang out with are in the music business some way or another, because it's the people I was around. That's why they're my friends. Because I don't know the guys that work at the car dealership, because I didn't hang out there. You know what I mean? It's just that's kind of like that. One of the things we talk about though is that talent. There's a level of talent as far as like actual music ability, performance ability, at which if you've got to that plateau and you're above it, between there and then this other level way up here, talent no longer is a factor. It's all the other part of the machine. It's, do you have backing? Do you have a publicist? Can you get booked? Can you afford a band? Can you whatever the things, all those other pieces. And there may be 100 people that are better than that person that don't have the rest of the package, that will never have as much success as that person, because it is a business, and you've got to treat it like one to have success in it, or at least those that do tend to. I mean, there are the exceptions that we think about. One of them for me is like Johnny Paycheck. I used to work with Johnny Paycheck a lot, off and on for years.
Okay,
he's a wild man. He's brilliant. But when Johnny Paycheck showed up at the Opry, not did the crowd just get quiet, but every musician, every artist in the house would come out backstage and stand there, and it would be you could hear a pin drop and just listen to him sing, because was just one of those true, pure, real voices, you know, of that genre of music.
And with that, had the respect of everybody.
Totally, because he was just in his natural crazy state, was just freaking brilliant. Man, he just had it.
Wow,
that was it, you know.
That's awesome. Now, when did you get into the songwriting?
I've been writing for years, but not as seriously. And I've written with some good writers too, and I've had a couple cuts, and I've had some good holds. But probably around the early 80s, I started writing, where I went to work. The studio I went to work at, we mostly did albums there, and we were doing people like Gene Watson and Johnny Paycheck, a lot of Grand Ole Opry people. I did a little Jimmy Dickens Country Music Hall of Fame album when he was inducted to the country. Me and Porter Wagner on the back. And Jimmy Dickens, I got long hair and a beard. You wouldn't know me. So you see my name, I go, who's that little skinny guy with all that hair?
Love to see those pictures.
Oh, man. Well, they're out there. They're in the Country Music Hall of Fame. But the group of people that were the inner circle of that were all good writers. One of them was Jeannie Seeley, who I came to be friends with for years and years. And had been married to Jack Green before that, was married to Hank Cochran, and Hank wrote a lot of hit songs especially in the era of the 60s and early 70s. That was his big era, but lots of like really big songs. And also my friend Gene that got me in the studio business, one of his best buddies was a guy named Sonny Throckmorton. Sonny wrote things like Friday Night Blues, Middle Age Crazy, lots of hits for Jerry Lee, John Connolly. I mean, he was writing hits for everybody. He had a period of about 10 years there when everything he wrote was, and he wrote, I wouldn't begin to know how many songs, but he had 40 number ones in the country. Wow. I actually had it's how long ago I had a cassette of it, and everyone comes on, you go, I didn't know you wrote that. But hit after hit after hit after hit, just unbelievable. So being around that, you're going, hey, I got this idea, guys. Maybe could we, and you just, the writing just kind of happens. It's not always a planned thing. I know they're at publishing companies. Beth Travers had a deal like that where they go in and write regular, and she had regular writers she wrote with. I never wrote in that fashion.
Singles just by yourself? Is that
no, I've written with some other people. I have a buddy named Ricky Klang that I wrote. We collaborate with, and I collaborate with Beth Travers a fair amount, and we kind of finish each other's songs back and forth. Someone to bounce them off from. But I've been writing for a long time.
Now, what's some of your favorite songs that you've had your hand in writing?
So I had a thing I wrote called 3 More Minutes on the Radio that was it's on a Razzie Bailey record. I wrote another one called Do You Want to Dance? And this group was a group from Switzerland called Nevada, and they were on a label out of Austria called Tyrolus Records, a European label. And I had the title cut on their things, and I've discovered that European money takes longer to get, but but it spends just as well, and it lasts just as well. So, the Razzie thing, you can poke around, find that it's on his anthology album. I worked with an artist friend of mine, David Patillo, and on Davis. Now, I did not write this song, but I had a hand in I wrote the production and the arrangements, and we got a Leanne Rimes cut on her How Can I Live album. It's called 10,000 Angels Cried.
Oh, yeah.
And the best compliment, they say the best flattery is when someone copies you, and they copied what we did on that song to a T, string arrangement, everything.
Wow.
So, you're like, that's all right, yeah. So, the stuff I did on Jimmy Dickens for me was one of the funnest things. I worked with a lot of probably more contemporary sounding names, but when I was a kid growing up, Saturdays was Hee Haw.
Oh, absolutely. That's how I grew up.
Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, right. All those shows. So my mom Saturday was my mom's Saturday afternoon. Just don't go near the TV. If you're watching football, it's probably on a black and white TV in the garage because Mom was watching Porter Wagner, the Wilburn Brothers. So when I got into country music, I was pretty young, really, still a teenager. But all those guys were still the guys that had the really strong handhold on Nashville. Right. So, and really, you were just starting to see it. George Jones was big, it was all that era. Merle Haggard, all those guys. And it started to really change in the 80s, mid 80s, make that to me it always seems like it's a 10 or 12 year circle. It kind of goes around, gets more traditional, and comes back. And I think you'll see it in the next couple of years. I could be wrong, but I think you'll see it. More traditional stuff.
It seemed like we started going through a phase where the 90s country was starting to get popular again. Seeing a lot of those 90s artists coming back out. Yeah. And kind of popping back up with popularity. And now it just seems like it's starting to fade away again. Yeah.
But I can tell you, generally speaking, there's way more money in songwriting than there is in performing or anything
That's
else.
what I've heard.
Well, because that song it's all your songs are worth nothing until somebody cuts one of them, and then everything you've got that they said, no, we're not. That's not what we're looking for the last 20 years. All of a sudden, they're like, what else have you got? I've got 20 years worth of stuff. What would you like to hear? Let me hear it all.
Let me hear it all.
And so all that work all of a sudden it really has, they talk about intellectual property, but it has great value and great value potential. And the other thing is it goes on. Like the song Papa Top, you know that song?
Oh, yeah.
I used to work for the guy who wrote that, Nat Stuckey. I was one of my first really good, my second good country gig. My first one was with Tommy Overstreet. And then went to work with Nat, and Nat wrote that, and he had a record on it. Then Jim Ed Brown had a record on it. Right. Well, Nat died in 1986 86, I think, or 80, 85, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. And, 15 years later, maybe, big hit for Alan Jackson. And it had already been a hit twice.
Yeah, I mean, I
was still
remember
friends with
the
Nat's
older
wife
versions of
and
it, yeah.
Stucky. Yeah, so it's like, all right, you just got all that money again, right? And that's the thing. You know, once your record sales go down and it's no longer a big hit, if you're the artist, if you didn't write that song, that money starts to trickle down. Not as much, you know. But if you're the artist, every time it, you know, Alan Jackson's never going to see any more money off that if somebody else cuts that song.
Right.
But the family or the estate of Nat Stucky who wrote that will see that money for as long as that song is, as long as they renew the copyright every 50 years. Mm-hmm. You know. Yeah. So. Well, how about that's what's interesting about writing? To
I
me.
have a fan question.
Oh, you got a fan question over there. Okay, hold on, then. Go ahead there, Golden.
Miss Verona Corona wants to know, how much bluegrass were you into?
I've never been a bluegrasser, but I did have a funny thing happen. For 2 summers, for some reason, Johnny Russell got on all these bluegrass festivals, and he didn't carry a full band. He carried me and a guitar player that we had named Charlie Vaughn, and Charlie played guitar, fiddle, and banjo and mandolin. And he mostly carried Charlie because Charlie played fiddle, and I was playing acoustic guitar. So I played 2 years worth of country songs at bluegrass festivals, but I didn't grow up playing bluegrass. I love it, and I'm familiar with a lot of it. My wife has played a lot more bluegrass than I have, but I'm fairly familiar, and some of my best friends are bluegrassers, and some of the, like Alison Krauss. You know, Alison came out of the bluegrass background. Mm-hmm,
absolutely. And she's got a voice of an angel.
Yeah, well,
it's funny because somebody just popped up and asked
about Alison. Well, that's funny because I've been acquainted with Alison since she was probably about 14 years old, and she used to just. They'd come. I think it was the Sally Mountain show that she was involved in. They would come. Rhonda Vincent also. Mm-hmm. They would come and she'd play the Opry, and you know, not Rhonda. Allison has dark hair. Mm-hmm. She was short, a little bit chunky, and smoked cigarettes, you know, with no filters, and always had a flask in her pocket.
Really?
She hung out with the band. That's who she was. That's who we all knew for years. And when she'd sing, we always go, that just doesn't even. So, obviously, wonderful singer, wonderful player, and a very sweet person, and very talented. So I hadn't seen her for some time, and one night, I'm again at the Opry doing and so Allison's on there. I see she's on there. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go. She had what's the song she had? It's amazing how you can speak, the Keith Whitley song. Right? Yeah. Well, the whole band's on stage, and they're going, ladies and gentlemen, you know, blah blah, and whoever's introducing her. And so I'm looking out there and I'm going, wow, she's got a girl in the band. Because at the time, I think Jerry Douglas was in the band. I couldn't tell you everybody, and so there's a really gorgeous blonde-headed girl, tall, thin-looking blonde-headed girl standing there with a fiddle up under her arm. And I'm waiting for Allison to come on. And when they finally say her name and she walks up, that's who walks up the mic. I'm like, what? Seriously, a complete makeover.
Wow.
And she's looked that way ever since. But she was always brilliantly talented. Yeah. But that's some of that rest of the package thing. You know, people saw all that potential, the people that she works with, who are management, or probably wouldn't be a record producer, but her management, the people that handle her professional part of her business, saw the rest of the package that they needed to work on for her. Mm-hmm. You know, she's always had that really interesting demeanor, but it's just it's like anything else. We talked about it a minute ago. There's more to it. You got it. Once you're above that talent line, the general public, most of them, does not recognize. You know, if you're looking at it on a graph, say if you got from 0 to 10, if you're above 5, from 5 all the way to 9.5, to the general public, all sounds the same. If they're in that, they must be good to them, you know.
Right.
Where if you play music for a living, you'll realize there's a lot of different levels of ability in there. And guys like to play sessions. They'll be like, I hear people talk about that guy's a brilliant guitar player. He sounds wonderful when he plays. And I can make people think I'm a brilliant guitar player. I am not. No, seriously, but there's a point to this. If you want, and I'm a keyboard player, really. That's what I really am, a piano player and arranger, and I write orchestration. I can write, brass, horn parts, whatever you want. So that's really what I really know about. But I've played around a bunch of good guitar players, so I know some stuff. But if you start putting me under the gun, can you play specifically this, play specifically that, because we want exactly these notes or that notes in this spot on this record, I'm not the right guy because I'm not talented like that. There are guys who can. And that way we could always tell the difference is when somebody, the idea when you're making a record is that right there, I'm looking at this Pablo Cruz record cover, right? So the guy who's producing that record has got a picture in his head of what this record's going to sound like. So it's going to look like that. He's going to go, okay, we're going to do this. It's going to be a forest scene. I want some flowers right in the middle of it. All right. And I want a bunch of greenery in the back. And you all looking at, I want ferns at the bottom. So I've got 5 players here, musicians in the studio. Okay. Drummer, bass player, you're the foundation. Can you all do those ferns for me? I'm not going to tell them exactly what to do with the ferns, but that I want ferns. They're better at drawing ferns than I am. So let them draw the damn ferns. And I got flowers right in the middle. Okay. That's the singer. Okay. I want these flowers to hit me like this. This is about emotion. But this is your record, so you can't sing it like I want you to, but I want you to make me feel these things with how you sing it. So you try to surround yourself with people. I always tried to be the worst player on the session. Then I figured I could get a decent session. Right. Really. Yeah. But that's the key. When you start telling somebody specifically what to play, that starts to separate how, in my book, what the real level of players are. And all of us can play what we play if we rehearse it well enough, play it well. But when you can play what somebody else is hearing in their head and make it sound and feel to them like it sounds and feels in their head, now you just moved up an echelon. And so the guys that play sessions in Nashville, they're really, there's some of it's not that they're the very best technical players always, but they have a language they speak.
Gotcha.
And they're just some of the most brilliant players overall, that I've ever run across.
Awesome. Well, what I want to do, we got Joe Leo coming up here at 8 o'clock. Yeah. I want to go, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to play one of your songs that you can tell us about how you love dancing. Okay. And then we're going to come back to Joe Leo, and then after that, we want to come back and continue this conversation because I think we're getting a lot of questions popping up out there. All right.
We've got some, yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back.
In the evening breeze, somewhere on the shore of the 7 seas, twirling round in the sand, holding my baby's hand. Ooh, I love dancing.
Oh, I love to feel your body close to mine, underneath the moon like the spotlight shining on me. Sweet romancing.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
Moving to the rhythm of the waves with you.
There ain't nothing else I'd rather do.
Stars are shining bright.
Let's stay out here all night.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
Is providing a gentle beat. We're moving with the swaying of the trees. Crickets chirping right in time, filling out the rest of the rhyme. Ooh, I love dancing.
I can feel you breathing against my face. Damned if I don't love this magical place with you. Still romancing.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
Moving to the rhythm of the waves with you. stars are shining bright.
Let's stay out here all night.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
I'm moving to the rhythm of the waves with you.
There ain't nothing else I'd rather do.
Well, the stars are shining bright.
Let's stay out here all night.
'Cause baby, ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
Yeah, the stars are shining bright.
So let's stay out here all night.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing.
Ooh, I love dancing.
I love dancing, Mr. Dave Signs.
Yeah.
That is a cool, mellow song. Just kind of, when you're a little upset, it just kind of helps you kind of
Yeah,
breathe
that's
and relax a little bit.
Smooth things back in there.
Yeah.
Kind of find your zen. All right, let's see if let me see over here if Joe Leo is in the green room here. I see him in the green room, but it's all black color. Like I don't see
Yeah.
him. I just see his name is there. So
His camera must not be on.
yeah.
Joe, if you can hear us, can you turn your camera on?
Yeah, because I just see a black screen on, but he is in the green room.
Oh, we're a step closer.
But you know he is we are trying to do a live video from a cruise ship.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So
That may be kind of tough.
that may
Yeah.
be it may be kind of tough. He says he's got they got the Wi-Fi. He's got the hookup that can be done. So
Well, while we're waiting on
we're
him,
going to see about that. But Dave was telling an interesting story about I Love to Dance, and one of the musician that's on there that.
Yeah, I was talking in particular about a fellow named Eugene Moles. His name's Denver. Everybody calls him Eugene. I call him Weenie. 'Cause I had an uncle named Eugene that we used to call Uncle Weenie. Anyway, Eugene was Eugene's from Bakersfield. He's a Bakersfield boy, and I met him actually. He was working the Opry also with another artist, and that's how I met him. And when Eugene was 16, he was working with Merle Haggard, and then he got hired by Buck to work, and so he's playing on Hee Haw. And there's a lot of, you can see if you go back there, he always looked like a 12-year-old boy, and he's always playing a red, white, and blue Mosrite guitar because his father worked in the Mosrite guitar factory.
Right.
So Eugene is one of the two guitar players I tend to use. I use him and I use Mike Baker. These guys are, they're my age. They're in their 60s, but they're like me. They've been playing professionally at a high level for their entire lives. So.
Well, you can tell because the music it's spot on.
That's right.
And it's just that goes it flows.
The bass player on that song, his name's Dave Rowe. He spent years with 15 or so years with Johnny Cash. The last bass player John had before he passed away.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Worked with Dwight Yoakam before that. I met Dave back in the early '80s, and he worked with Jerry Reed for some time. There's a bunch of these acts through the years. Vern Goz is another one he used to work with. He's a session player around Nashville for a long time. He's on Carry Under was the last 4 CDs.
Oh wow.
He just did Taj Mahal's last album. I mean, he's just same thing. All these guys. The drummer on that particular song is a guy named Fred Satterfield. I've known for, gosh, I don't know, probably close to 50 years. Fred came up like I did through gospel music. He played with a group called the Archers from California, and then worked with Andre Crouch. Came to Nashville, went to work with Oak Ridge Boys, and was Oak Ridge Boys band leader for about 25. So he was a drummer in the Oak Ridge Boys and band leader for years. And I just know him from playing gospel when we were kids. We just see each other. We never were big buds or anything, but we all started in our teens.
You definitely know some interesting people.
Oh, I know. Yeah, really, a lot of them.
We always joke about the most interesting man in the world. I think we actually, I think Dave has reclaimed that title.
I don't know, but it's like anything else. I grew up in a business that people are interested in, so I've always had exposure to it. I never really thought much about it, so I don't have near the pictures and stuff, autographs and stuff that I should have or that I would have had if I looking back. But I'm on some real significant projects that have happened through the years, and like you don't even really think about what it might be while you're doing it. It's just, hey, next week we're doing this project with so and so and so and so, and it's like everything else. You're working late Saturday. You're like, man, I really like to.
When you're in the moment, it's kind of hard to picture about what's going to come.
You can't understand looking back. I have some experience that at the moment you think, well, that was kind of cool, and then you look back, that only happened once in the history of the world, and it's never going to happen again.
Right.
The kind of thing. Like, wow, that's really. So I'm pretty grateful. Thing is I have a lot of friends that have lived a very similar life to mine. And we kind of all ended up in that same place and do the same thing. And it's that 80 or 90% of the guys that make the world go around in music. People don't know their names a lot, but if they all weren't there, you wouldn't hear any of this music on the radio ever.
Well, amongst your circle of friends, I'd love to be a fly on the wall to hear that conversation, because you definitely, the stories, I could sit and just listen to the stories one right after the other all night long.
It's just amazing.
Forget about playing music. Let's just keep talking,
Yeah, the things you hear and see
I'm
later.
getting more and more starstruck as the conversation goes on.
There's nothing to be starstruck about, really. I mean, it's just... it's just what I was around,
Yeah.
Really, I didn't. And again, a lot of times when you look back, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
So an example, we're talking about Johnny Paycheck. The last cool thing Paycheck did was a thing called Old Violin. And I cut the original track of that and played on it.
Really?
The Paycheck he'd shot a guy and he was going to jail, and then we knew he was going to jail, and so I watched him play that thing and cry the whole time he was singing that song. And I'm like, wow. That's an unusual thing for that dude.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of those. A lot of my friends have the same experience. You're like, damn, can you believe that happened?
Well, I heard a beep in my ear. I think, I see him in the green room.
Oh, yeah.
Let's kick over here, see if we can bring up Mr. Joe Leo into the room here. Hey, Joe, you there? Can you hear me now? And it's a black screen again. Oh, there he is.
I heard a voice.
Hey, can you hear us now?
He's right there.
Hey, can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear the in the background.
I'm in the show?
Yeah, I am. You are.
Well, hi, guys.
Can you see me or hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
There he is.
All right.
How you doing, Joe?
B-Dawg, I don't see you.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
We see both on YouTube.
And again, this is I don't know if this has ever been done. Do live video via
From a cruise ship?
Cruise ship. So
Can't hear anything.
he can't hear anything.
Uh-oh.
All right, Joe. Hello? All right.
Everybody's seeing you, Joe.
Way have I, Joe. All right. I'm going to, if you can, just give him a message, tell him that we could see and hear him. Yeah, I don't know why he can't hear me. So I'm going to put him back into the green room until he can figure out what he's got going on there.
All right, I'll let him know.
All right, there. So, let me get back over here. There we go.
Man, it's my night, back. Isn't it? Sorry, Joe.
You are the star of the show right now. So, how did you get into Coastal Americana Troprock? How did that transition take place?
Well, you know how Jack Mosley's got that song called Blame It on the Tequila?
Yeah.
I have to blame it on Jack Mosley. So I
love Jack.
I had this concept for MFGRECORDs, which stands for Music for Grown-Ups, right?
And we are very thankful for MFG Records.
Yes.
It's just one of those things. I thought, you know what? One of these days, I'm just going to do it. I've had a label in the past. I'm going to do another small label. And I had a Western artist that I was doing quite well with, still do quite well. A guy named Greg Hager is really good. And Beth and I moved. Beth had been in Germany for 3 years and come back to the States. She'd been doing some work with the Red Cross. And we decided to buy this house in Florida and move there. We had another little house, moved there full time. And she called Jack Mosley, said, "Hey, Jack, I heard you were down here playing music around here. You know, Dave and I bought a house down here, and we've moved. And I was just wondering where you were. Maybe you could tell me what the music scene's like and so on and so forth." And so Jack said, "Well, where are you?" So she told him, and he says, "Well, I live like a mile from there."
Oh, wow.
So Beth knew Jack Mosley from when Jack lived in Nashville in the past, and Beth knew Jack from songwriting and songwriter circles, and I think maybe from Cowboy Church. And so they'd been acquainted for like 20 plus years already, and or longer. I think Beth told me 25 years when we moved. This is probably 30 years now. And Jack was looking for someone. You know, Beth was a bass player. She was in the Ray Stevens band. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That's a band. That's a scary.
That's what I said.
band.
We definitely got to get Beth in here.
Oh, you need to get Beth.
Because it definitely
Beth by
sounds
herself
like
is a whole
she also has
very
quite a few
interesting
stories.
career. Yeah, but anyway, she introduced me to Jack. She played with Jack a little bit just to kind of see what was going on around there. And of course, we had been recording and so on for years, and her and I toured together overseas, playing kind of folky country. You know, Americana, I'm not sure what you'd call it, back, a number of years ago. But really, Jack knew about all the trop rock thing, obviously, and he called Beth one day and said, "Hey, you want to come over here and play? I got this one song I'm working on." Jack has a studio it's not in his house, but he's got another building on his property, and it's a private small studio there that he'd been cutting his records in. So I went over and played on something for him, and he wanted something else. And Beth said, "Oh, you should have Dave do it, whatever." And we just got acquainted a little bit, and I played him something that I had recorded from somebody else. He was like, "Wow, what would you charge me to record my next record?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, yeah, I don't really do that. I mean, I had a commercial studio for years."
Yeah, you did.
Well, I do. I mean, that's what I did. But I really wasn't a for hire guy anymore at this point because we had the label, and I've done that kind of thing my whole life. It was just like I was more interested in playing myself. But that's really, in the short, that's through Jack Mosley. That's how we got acquainted. So Beth
Blame it on Jack.
Blame it on Jack.
A lot of people say blame it on Jack, but it's not that kind of Jack.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it may have been in some of that. Yeah. So I've done 2 records on Jack. Now I say I'm speaking collectively because Beth and I produced together a majority of stuff. That's it. And then Beth had a record that we'd been working on, and we released her first record, and we just kind of started getting acquainted with some of the people. I found out then there were some of them that I knew, and I have some friends that I was involved in the marina business pretty heavily for a number of years also. And just a couple of friends that I met in there that were involved. The guy who owned the company I was involved with was building Margaritaville hotels and restaurants. So I kind of knew the whole Margaritaville thing and knew some of the corporate people, although I don't know Jimmy Buffett, but you know what I'm saying? I knew the business side of their thing, what they're doing. And then another friend of mine is John Anthony's his name, but John is the managing partner of No Shoes Radio with Kenny Chesney. And John was one of my customers at our marina in Nashville, one of my buds for a long time. So he and I have had a friendship for a long time. So I kind of know about the genre in general. I did not know about all the trop rock radio or the trop rock culture that's out there. I knew about Parrot Heads, and I mean, I was familiar with all that stuff from being just in the music business and being around Nashville and around boats and marinas. But I didn't realize, I didn't know anything about the TRMA or any of the other organizations or the kind of subculture that there is throughout, all the way from really all up in the Eastern Seaboard in particular, but the Eastern Seaboard and all down around the Gulf, there's a pretty good subculture about trop rock or coastal Americana or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's, I didn't realize there was so much to it. Radio, like the internet, I didn't know anything about Tikimanradio, or I knew about Radio Margaritaville, those couple heavy hitter, XM or satellite stations, but about all the great internet stuff that's happening, like Tikiman and so the festivals that happen that are very aimed at trop rocks. I didn't know about any of that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, wasn't aware of it.
Well,
Wow.
Mr. Steve Hopper was out there and wanted to say hello to you.
Hey, Steve.
He is playing, let's see, Bahama Breeze tonight. He said he's got to go back now. He's been on break, but he wanted to say
Oh, that's cool.
hello.
Steve's great.
We're going to try Joe again here, right?
All right.
He's still in there, so let's see if we've gotten the
bugs worked out. We'll give it another shot.
Give it a shot here. Let me get up here and click over here. Oh, and he disappeared on me.
Oh. Wonder if he's having issues because
The
of
boat must have rocked.
Well,
Yeah.
the Tiki Man warned that there would may be issues with this.
Yeah.
So
We got to see him anyway.
yeah, what we will do is for sure we'll try to find him another time when he's not on a cruise ship, which is kind of hard to figure out when he's not on a cruise ship. But we'll try to get hooked up with him because we definitely want to talk to him about what's going on, everything from the Tikimanradio Escape to Paradise to the Tunnels for Towers foundation that they're working on. So I'll listen to him, see if he does pop back in, but in the meantime, we still got Mr. Dave Sines sitting here telling all these cool stories.
I know. You know what? I do want to give a few shout outs. We have quite a few people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're a popular fella,
Oh, wow.
Dave. I just want to do a few shout outs here. We've got ZNG are out there. Uncle
Patty Smith.
Yep. Uncle Alex is out there. He says he's packing. He should be home this weekend.
He's coming home.
Yeah.
He
Nice.
misses us.
Yeah. Caleb is out there.
Hey, Caleb.
He says
Hey, Caleb.
I knew all that stuff about Nashville from my research that I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Where do you drink beer, Caleb?
He actually was born in Nashville.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is my little brother's son. So he was born in Nashville. I think now he lives in
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Clarksville, yeah.
He is an inspiring banjo player.
yes,
Clarksville's a good place for that.
yeah,
You're floating down the river. And
playing some
sorry,
banjo,
brother. Sorry, brother. Yeah, just take that banjo, get on a raft, and keep right on going.
right? And then Mary Ellen is out there.
Hello.
Said, hey, Golden.
Hey,
Yeah, she said hello to me. I'm still have not met her face to face yet, so
No,
maybe
Oh, wow.
next time she's in the studio, I'll make it a point to come down.
yeah, I didn't get to meet her yet either.
Okay. Marine Benefit, she's out there. Hey, Marine.
Hey, Marine.
Hey, Marine.
That guy was out there.
Hey,
that guy.
Christopher. That guy.
Alicia says she's made a homemade peanut butter milkshake. So,
Oh, she waited till we were not home.
Ghost figures.
and the Kelly McCool,
Hey, Callie.
and we got our good friend Anthony Weaver, Tony Tad.
Hey, Tony.
He says,
Tad.
what's up? He's been out this week with COVID.
Wow. Sorry to hear that. No, just lift up your mic a little bit. You're talking to the top of it. You talk straight into it there.
See, I was trying to. And
There, that's
There
I was
we go.
afraid to move the damn.
That's
I
better.
know, right?
Yelled at when I
That's
moved it.
better.
I did have the echo.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Who else you see?
The ambassador is out there.
Hello, Michelle.
And Patty and Eric Smith, they're both out
Hey,
there
guys.
tonight.
Got
Hey.
them.
All right.
Yeah.
I hear a beep in my ear. Do you have any more shout outs real quick? If not, I want to try to jump over here before we lose.
Verona, Scotty Chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
We'll shout him out right quick.
Yeah, baby.
Are you there, Joe? Nope. He's there, but no picture.
Oh, no.
So, all right.
Well, Verona is listening from Mexico.
Yes. Hey, Verona.
Yes.
Nice.
She said she was talking earlier. She said she was at dinner and sat with a couple new friends and
Oh, very nice.
had them watching us tonight. So.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
That's great.
For those of you that had joined us from the beginning, if you remember show number 1 would have been a year ago yesterday. We made every mistake we could in the book. Tiki Man warned us that we would, and we did, and we fumbled our way all the way through to the point of we got kind of cocky. That we got this down. Then we come in here for this 1-year anniversary show, planning the biggest bash ever, and to kick off this new year, and anything and everything that we could possibly do has went wrong. Including our party favors that make no noise.
Well, they didn't have any.
Come on.
They didn't have any that didn't make no noise. What am I supposed to do?
You did good.
So that has just been things for us. You know,
This is it.
Tikimanradio is all about what could possibly go wrong. And
That's exactly right.
We've told you from the word go. You hang out with me and Lou, you will find out. Golden is just, he's finding out the hard way that we're not the easiest people to hang out with.
No.
You know what? It's probably Golden. I realized the Dollar Tree had a very limited selection.
That's it.
Hey, you know, this makes me.
Yeah.
You got these. I bought a bunch of kazoos when I was working on something with
That's
Rudy.
what I was looking
Rudy,
for.
well, you should call me. I've got like 2 bags of them. Oh. There's only one problem. They don't make any noise either.
Kazoo, it makes no noise.
Yeah, I know, right? You get to make your own.
We can pretend like, though.
Yeah.
So,
That's funny.
So do we have any questions out there other people has for Dave? Because, you know, we want to give them the opportunity to be the interviewer, too.
Well, I've answered. He's answered the questions that have popped up.
Yeah. Okay.
He has answered. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
where I want it. I'm not reading anything.
All right. Cool. Very cool. So, so you and Beth, how long have you guys been doing music together?
About 21 years. We've known each other about 22 years or so, and we actually met through a mutual friend, Razzie Bailey. Beth had done some work with Razzie. I played on a lot of Razzie's records back in the late 70s into the 80s, and I worked with him a lot. And we were on this little short package tour with Razzie and Percy Sledge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Beth was the bass player. We're both subbing. Neither of us regulars in the band. And I was the keyboard player.
And you just happened to be subbing.
And we were at the same, we subbed at the same show, and we were the odd guys out. So we just hung out really just to visit and got
Some
talking.
would say that's fate.
Well, I think so. What the deal was is that we found out that each other sailed. We both like to sail.
Oh.
Because we both played music. It was just another job for. We both played music, so the music wasn't really an attraction. But we found out each other sailed. It was like, oh, well, you want to go sailing? So that's really how we first started talking.
Perfect.
Was because we were interested in something that
was not music.
Didn't have anything to do with our jobs,
Yeah.
which was music. Yeah.
We had a question come in.
All right, go ahead.
Will you and Beth be playing at the Parrot Head Rendezvous, Panama City Beach?
We will not.
They will not.
No.
So far, we don't seem to be able to get invited to those things. I'm not sure why. Any of the big. I tell you where we will be. We'll be at the MFG Songwriter Circle at Music on the Bay.
Oh.
March 6th, Sunday morning. We're going to have our MFG artists hosting and then some other guests, and we'll both be playing there.
And you also are going to be up in Laura Lou and I's neck of the woods up in Put-in Bay coming up.
Oh, that's right. You're going to be up there. I forget the date, but with Brian Burns at of Salem Song Promotions. Yeah, Put-in Bay.
Up there at Mr. Ed's.
Mr. Ed's.
Yeah. Yeah, I got.
Get ready.
We're going to be in Cincinnati.
Put-in Bay is our old
4th of July
grounds.
weekend. Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah. We're from that part of Ohio, only about a couple hours from Put-in Bay. Yeah.
You're from east or south or?
We're from the northeast part of Ohio. Yeah.
Okay, so like over Ashtabula, further.
Nope,
Further south.
We're further south. We are just south of Canton, Ohio.
Okay.
Most people know where Canton is. So. Yep.
I used to drive to Cleveland a lot.
Oh wow.
You went 77 north. You passed us.
Yeah.
Our little podunk town.
Newcomers Town.
What was the name of the town?
Newcomers Town.
Newcomers Town.
Yep. We are famous for two things and two things only. We're the home of Cy Young and the home of Woody Hayes for all the Ohio State fans.
Well,
so
that's
the only things our town is famous for.
So you're
and a whole lot of people who have been arrested. That's right.
Well, that too.
A lot of small towns have similar kind of right.
Right.
I have another question.
Okay.
Callie McCool wants to know how you like your steak.
Medium rare.
Medium rare.
That's how you
I
eat
don't know
a
how
steak.
you people do that.
That's a little overdone for me, but
A little overdone?
I eat mine rare to medium rare.
Yeah.
Listen, if it can still
It's like
moo at me, I can't do
Rare
it.
plus. Right. Depends on what restaurant if you're in, if they really know what that means.
That's
not
true.
Blue, not blue. I can't eat a blue one.
Yeah.
I have. I ate the blue ones before. I can't do blue rare anymore. But yeah, just cut off what you want, and I'll ride home on the rest.
That's right.
That's what I like.
right.
Riding.
Well, before we came in here, I know we were kind of poking at you about trying to find you a guitar.
Oh,
And then I feel bad because he's sitting at the beginning going, I'm really not a guitar player. And I'm like, no, I feel bad because now I'm forcing the man to play the guitar.
I probably played enough to.
You're not a piano right over
Do you want to play something live for us?
Yeah, sure.
All right, awesome. Let me kill everybody else's mic here and let Mr. Dave Sines entertain you.
Can you hear this thing?
Yep.
So here's something I haven't played out yet. It's on my new record, along with some of my friends, like Sonny Jim is on my new record. It's gonna be he's playing some guitar and some steel pans. I'll probably have him on this one through. I was setting out a week before Christmas, just in Florida. It was just about dusk, and it's just so beautiful out. And you know how sometimes about that time of day, you get all this UV light in the clouds, and it's like, oh man, this was so. I just thought, boy, it would be nice to just stay this way for a couple hours. And when I write, songs tend to just come to me. They just kind of, there it is, and then I just kind of have to finish it, But this song pretty much came out like I'll play it for you. I haven't finished it. I've recorded a track, but I haven't finished it yet. And the guys that played on this with me, Jax Bowers, who's playing on a lot of Troprock stuff, and my buddy Stick Davis, who was the bass player for the Amazing Rhythm Aces, and I think Stick started with Al Green, and then John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, Bob Dylan. I mean, great. He lives in Pinellas Park, Florida, which is St. Pete, but found he was down there. I got to get Eugene to come, Moles to play on it, but it's like this. Hey there, Mr. Moon, you know you got a pull. You know about love and everything that's cool. You can hold the ocean back, turn back the tide. So could you do me one favor tonight? Please don't let the sun go down. Don't let the sun go down, 'cause I just want to stay right here with all of my friends. So please don't let the sun go down. Hey there, Mother Ocean, maybe you could lend a hand. Talk to the stars and planets and help them understand. We just want a simple hour or two. Is it something you could help us do? Please don't let the sun go down. Please don't let the sun go down. I just want to stay right here with all of my friends. Don't let the sun go down. We could try to rewind it, maybe turn back the hands of time. But when you get a day like this, you want to hold on to it, 'cause it's so hard. Yeah, they're so damn hard to find. Oh, please don't let the sun go down. Don't let the sun go down. You know that I just want to stay right here with all of my friends. So please don't let the sun go down.
Guess I just wanna stay right here with all of my friends. So please don't let the sun go down. Don't let the sun go down. I think I'm gonna pull that guitar.
That is absolutely
Brand new.
amazing.
You'll hear it on my next record. It'll be out here.
You got Laura Lou over here in tears.
I like the pick and rhythm. I do like it.
Oh yeah, it's kind of. I can't really play very good. I really have to kind of like.
Oh, I love it.
Strings maybe about that on that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, in case Uncle Alex, he's still watching there, that guitar should look a little familiar.
Yeah.
That's a pretty blue guitar.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy strings for it.
So that song just came to you, huh?
Yeah, literally. I mean, it just like I sat down. The whole chorus came out that fast.
Wow.
And then the verse, I was like, okay. The first verse just happened, and I sang the verse and chorus a time or two, and then the bridge came like the next day. So the two verses and the chorus came real easy. And then I was talking with Beth Travers, who I always bounce my songs off from, and I said, I feel like it just needs a bridge to kind of tie it all up. So the bridge, same thing. The bridge just kind of hit me. Well, what would you be trying to do? We're just trying to get a couple hours here. Let's just like roll the time back or something, just
Right.
anything. So
That was amazing.
I guess the metaphor of the water and the ocean and the moon, being able to control the time and so much, I just thought maybe we could ask them. But I was at a thing with Sonny Jim and some of his guests just attending. Mm-hmm. It was we've all heard of Jim Morris, who...
Oh, yeah.
So this was, I think, a memorial thing at the Navigator a few weeks ago for Jim's wife, Sharon, who passed away. And Sonny Jim and John Patty and some other folks, I think Latitude was there. And a lot of folks that live near where we're at in Florida went out to see it. And it was one of those things at the end of the day, it all quit about 6 o'clock, and it was just kind of dusk, and you could just tell everybody just wished it would just go on for a little. We knew it was time to be over. It's like, and that's when a song like that is like,
when you just don't want that
everything's
moment
hotter
to
when the sun
end.
goes down, Uncle Cracker. Okay, you got it. You got that. But sometimes it's just, could we just have a couple more hours of sunshine?
Sometimes you just don't want the moment to go
Just
away.
don't want it to go away.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. You okay over there?
I'm okay. I think I'll be all right.
You got
but
it
I
all.
definitely have to get a copy of that song.
Well, I'll make sure you get one.
Thank you so
I'll make
much.
sure you get one.
That is,
Taylor's up there, so you want to say hello?
oh.
Yeah. Hey, Taylor.
Hello to my daughter, Taylor.
So
and
she's at work, but she wanted to jump on and say hello.
All right.
Don't let the people at work see this.
Right.
I will never live it down because she works with everybody I used to know and work with. So,
Oh, come on. You even took your party hat off. I'm the one still in the party hat.
So,
Well,
You
I
looked
quickly-
good. Didn't he looked good in there.
He did,
I thought he
yeah.
looked really good
I
in there.
quickly fell out of the party mood when everything just went haywire.
That's
So,
when it's supposed to start.
hey, Taylor.
That's when
Exactly.
the party starts.
Dave's got the right idea.
Yeah, her being at work, that means she is feeling better. That is
Yes,
good to
thank
hear.
you.
I will talk to you soon.
Yes.
Yeah. So, give it up, Golden. Give it up.
Scotty Dyer wants to know how far from Naples are you?
Oh, I'm about, as a crow flies, 70 miles, but on the highway, I think it's about 100 miles to drive there. It was a little over an hour.
Okay.
So you got this your album that you put out, Latitude Adjustment. So and this new song is absolutely beautiful. What do you got timeline figured out for a new album to come out?
Really, I just need to go in the studio and just be disciplined. I've actually got the entire thing recorded, except for the song I just played you. I've got some work to do on it a little bit. I've just got to do a little bit of singing. So I could probably have it in the shop at about. I won't be up here in Nashville for the rest of this week in this area, and then go back to Florida. But I could probably have it out in the next 30 days.
Now you look at it, it's going to be EP, full-length album?
No, it's a full-length CD, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got 11 tunes. Just got the Tikiman. Y'all have heard the Tikiman song?
Yes.
Yes.
That's on it. What a crazy thing that
we
was.
heard that one in Key West when we were
That was
Yeah.
so fun.
We got to experience the extended version.
Yeah.
the birth of the Tikiman song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Lynn played me that earlier. I didn't realize he had all the video. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty fun.
It was fun.
We had so much fun in Key West and
Gosh, that was a
down
blast,
there hanging out with everybody and getting to finally meet a lot of these performers because we've only got to meet, the people that's just kind of found their way through the Tiki bar.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, the few that we met down in Panama City. But Key West was our first time to really immerse ourselves in with everything that goes on in Key West. It was our first trip to
A lot happening, isn't
it? It was
there?
our first trip to Key West, period. And then everything going on. It was actually almost like a sensory overload.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really was.
Actually, the first time I was at Key West during Meeting the Minds it's been 3 or 4 years ago, was the same way. I was down there. Actually, I went down and I had just done a record on Jack Mosley, and so we went down and with Jack's band. I played with him and we played in Key West, and I had never been there before, but it was same
Cool.
thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So
it
much
is.
going on.
Absolutely.
We're going to try this one more time because I see Joe Leo pop back up. So we're going to try it again. Hey, Joe, can you hear me? Hey, Joe. Hello? I see you.
He's saying he can see and hear us too, but
Oh, wow.
not sure what happened.
I don't even see him talking. I don't see no lips moving. You there? Hello? we were warned about this.
We were so sorry, Joe.
I see him.
I know he's trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, because let's see, he's got his cameras on. Let's see. Yeah.
Joe, Jerry Reed used to say, when you're hot, and when you're not, you can't give it away. Just saying, man.
He's
We might
trying.
have to-
He's trying so hard. I can see him there.
We might have to do it next week.
Yeah, Joe. Which I don't know. I think his trip he's on is going to be like a 9-day trip.
Oh, that's true.
So he's
yeah.
going to be in the Dominican Republic and all over the place, I think.
I'd love to be with him.
Right?
Or that, not right with him, but near.
Yeah.
On the
boat.
On the same damn boat.
Yeah. I've been to the Dominican. So.
Oh, yeah, you
Can you
did.
hear me?
I see
Hello.
him waving.
Can't hear you, buddy. Nope.
I think we're going to have to try it next time.
Yeah, we're going to have to try you next week, Joe. We'll give you a call here in a little bit, okay? Actually, I think his picture froze up. So.
All right. We'll talk to you in a little bit, Joe.
All right. Well,
Sorry, Joe.
Can't say we didn't try.
Best laid plans of mice and men, right?
Yeah.
You kind of. I appreciate you trying to make me feel better when you tell me that he's done sound all these years and stuff.
It's true.
You can check everything, but it's still going to go haywire.
Dude,
He's like, I'm not trying to make feel better. It's true.
Gremlins.
that's just how it is, yeah.
Gremlins, man.
Yep.
Well,
You check every mic. You come the next morning, one mic's dead, and you go and you find it, and it's a cord. You're like, I checked those
It's
all
always
myself
one
last night.
cable.
Last thing I did was talk to the mic and left, and it was working, and it was, and you're like, I don't know.
And
man.
everybody looks at you like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah, I
totally
get
get it.
that a lot.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, even Danny says gremlins get in the studio at night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Gremlins hate me. I swear that everybody feeds them and waters them before I come over. Because
Well, they say karma's a bitch. What did you do in the past, man? That's what I want to know.
you don't want to know.
You might-
don't know. I made that mistake of asking
I
what
could
did
tell
I
you
do,
some stories.
and
Yeah, someone told you?
I got 2 ex-wives that'll tell you exactly what I did.
I was thinking more like karma's got me and him confused.
Oh no! Karma's got me pegged. So.
Karma
chameleon.
That's right.
Oh no!
You
We're not.
come karaoke.
No, we're not going into karaoke. No.
Thank you.
But I will
Thank you. I
tell you
appreciate
what
that.
we're going to do. How about we play another Dave Signs tune?
Hey, I'm in.
All right.
Yeah.
How about a little Live Tropical? All right.
Mangoes and bananas for breakfast, mimosa in my left hand, snapping my fingers to the rhythm of the waves, grooving down the beach in the sand. Oysters for lunch on Monday and Tuesday, waiting for the afternoon rain, acting just like a kid again. I got this thought going round in my brain. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Live tropical. It's the only way to go. Live tropical. Just tune into the rhythm and flow. Walk in the sun even when it's not shining. Dance when the raindrops are falling down. Tune into this way of life. You'll be the happiest person around. If you walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Wednesday and Thursday going fishing. In the afternoon I'm taking a nap. I'll be hanging my feet off the hammock, listening to the water lap. I got no plans at all for Friday, and I keep Saturdays open. It's my thing. I'll be going to church at the ocean on Sunday. Got this thought going round in my brain. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Live tropical, 'cause it's the only way to go. Live tropical. Just tune into the rhythm and flow. Walk in the sun even when it's not shining. Dance when the raindrops are falling down. Lose yourself in this way of life and be the happiest person around. If you'll just walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Just walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Sunday evening at the shore, I'll watch the sun go down with a rum punch in my hand. Probably sleep there all night long, then start all over again. With mangoes and bananas for breakfast, mimosa in my left hand, snapping my fingers to the rhythm of the waves, grooving down the beach in the sand. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical. Ooh, you gotta walk in the sun, dance in the rain, live tropical.
Hey y'all, this is B-Dawg.
And Lou.
From Tropical Country, B-Dawg and Lou, here to tell you about our sponsor, JBL Legends Travel.
JBL Legends Travel is your full-service travel agent. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resort vacations, destination weddings, and romantic getaways. They're dedicated to offering you the best prices and advice, all while maintaining an emphasis on customer service.
So don't hesitate to contact them so they can start planning your next travel adventure. You can contact them at 732-831-5200 or check them out online at jvltravelgroup.net.
Mom needs rest. We need a vacation. Daddy's stressed. We need a vacation.
Yeah. Life's like an ocean journey upon which we all embark. Lucky for us, there's salt water everywhere, even in our hearts. Now it's true we don't get much say where that first drop of salt water lands. But the good news is if you don't like it, you can move it. Just pick it up and start again and find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Find your ocean. That salty sweat drips from the brow onto a worker's skillful hands. Perspiration drips from the farmer's neck as he sails his tractor across amber waves of grain. Young person learns to fly and sails their airship above the mountain's majesty. All those boats down on the river going in and out to sea. Find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Yeah, find your ocean and set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Just find your ocean. Your ocean. Find your ocean. Now your ocean might be the Great Lakes or Philadelphia, PA. Might be in New York City or maybe even L.A. Might be up in Nashville where all the country singers go. Or it might be down here with me on the Florida coast. Find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Gotta find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Just gotta find your ocean. Set your sail. When the wind starts blowing, give it hell. Gotta find your ocean. You got to
Find Your Ocean, a tropical country debut. Dave signs one of his songs off that new album, huh?
That is the title cut to my new project called Find Your Ocean. I got thinking about this here a while back. So, Troprock, a lot of us, some of us, I'm fortunate enough to live near saltwater, some of us that live in Florida or live in Texas, or, some of our friends and other artists that play live on the coast. But most of the people listen to saltwater.
Yeah.
Or dream about going there and live anywhere near it.
That's us. We dream of living there.
So I got to thinking about, so I have this a friend of mine become my friend and artist. His name's Greg Hager. He's plays Christian and Western music, and he's a really wonderful
I've heard a lot of Greg's music.
Yeah.
I love. Actually, I have some of his in my tropical country playlist.
I've got a lot of records on Greg over the years, but Greg is one of those guys. I think his ocean is freaking wheat field somewhere. He's
a cowboy, isn't he?
Yeah, a modern cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he truly is. I mean, he's a wonderful human being. He's a great family guy. So I know him, and I've met his wife and his daughter, and I've had a chance to spend time with him numerous times. And I think that for some people, and that's what that song talks about, I guess there's salt water in all of us, and that's what I was thinking, but it's not necessarily where you think it is. It's dripping off your brow because you're working your tush off, trying to make the rest of the world go around. So that was my whole thought about finding your ocean. What is your ocean? So that song talks about the farmer sailing his tractor across amber waves of grain, and young person learned to fly and sail in their airship across the mountains. It's just about, you have to find your own place.
It's such a cool way to put it. I had never thought about it like that because everybody talks about going to the ocean, and that's where the getaway is, and that's where you find your peace and your harmony, and that's not always true for everybody. You can find your own ocean in your own backyard.
And we all have to. I mean, for a lot of folks, it's something completely different than what we think of, but you got to. I mean, it's more of it's as much as a life story as a tropical song.
Yeah.
We all have to figure out what that is for us and do it. So I just think, but I was thinking in the realm of music, maybe there's saltwater everywhere, and most of it's coming from the center of the country going out to the ocean.
Exactly.
So that's from my experience, watching people work, and so anyway. But I appreciate you playing that. That's.
And for us, we go down the lake and just and go in our mind and believe it's the ocean.
That's it.
Daydream and think of the nice waves.
I've done spent a lot of time in the Army Corps of Engineer lakes in the region here. Definitely.
I'll go out there and go out there fishing with Golden and catch a bass and dream it's a sailfish.
Oh man, I kept a boat on Priest Lake in Nashville for years, and we used to on Saturday night. There's 2 opera spots, and our show we were always Roy Acuff's guest on the first show Saturday, which meant we were on at 7:00. Okay, so we were on from 7 to 7:30. We would just come out and play one song and leave. Then we were the host of the last show at 11:30. So I had from 7:30 to 11:30 time to kill. So we go drink beer and partake of adult substances on the sailboat and dream we're in the freaking ocean. We did it for years, man. And then go back and do our last. Go back. It was like 8 miles out to the lake and go back and do our last spot and then go home.
Oh wow!
That was for years and years. Hey, we're going to Dave's boat. Yes, we did it for years. So. I'm in. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because we talked about MFGRECORD,
yes,
of course, and want to talk to you about that and what you got going on over there, because I know you've signed an artist, seems like left and right, and got a bunch of new music coming out there.
We've added 2 new artists. Of course, Beth Travers, my wife and my partner in MFG, and what we call she's my favorite accomplice, I guess is what I call her. She's always game for something new and interesting. So we work together with the label, and we recently decided it would be time to sign another girl. And I said to Beth, this is something I think you should lead the way on. Who do you think would be? She said, I want to sign Danny Hoy.
Wow.
She said, I got to know her, and I love her. She's sweet, and she's genuine.
Yes.
She lives the life that we talk about being able to go live, and I'm not far
really
off
does.
it, but yeah, she's just hanging out in Key West, and they're playing music and having a good time and doing these night cruises, and her and Key West Chris,
They don't call her the world famous Danny Hoy for nothing.
No, they don't. So we just signed Danny, and I went down and recorded her on another project, which I have to wait. I have to save for next time because it's a big surprise. But it's really going to be. It's an MFG Records event.
Ooh.
It involves a number of MFG artists and some of our friends who are very well known in Troprock world. It's going to be very fun.
So you want to stay tuned for Tikimanradio to find out more
absolutely,
coming up.
absolutely.
Right.
We'll let you know when that's coming in. It'll be everywhere for a little while.
Cool.
Good.
It'll be everywhere.
Very cool.
So, but MFG, Danny has just sent me a bunch of tunes, and I've listened to some of them, and I haven't had a chance to listen to all of them at length. But I had her sing a few things for me on this other project, and she just closed her eyes and started playing air guitar and opened her mouth and blew me away. I'm like, whoa! I never really heard her. You know, I wanted to listen to her sing. I never really heard her listen to her intricately to see what all she does. Totally floored me. And then she got done. She said, "Oh, I didn't know I was going to do that." Well, damn, I'm glad you did. She's a terrific singer and really an interesting, really eclectic, fun human being. Just a lovely person.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart and has a beautiful voice.
Yeah. And I also then signed, and I think I've sent this stuff out. Just sent his second single out. We signed a fellow named Mac Martin. And Mac's been a friend of mine. Mac's from Arcadia, Florida. He's like 400th generation Arcadia, Florida guy. His family grew up there, and his grandparents and whatever. I met Mac by accident years ago. Beth and I were had played somewhere in that area down there with, I think, maybe Tommy Cash, or I don't even remember, someone from some Grand Opry person. And we'd gone into Arcadia, and it's an old town, like Central Florida, southern Central Florida. It's oranges and cattle. It's a country town. I mean, it's you might as well be in Texas, really. It's just except for the oranges, But we're looking for houses. We're just kind of poking around. I went in Mac's office. It was a realtor, and I was talking with him. I noticed he had a songwriting award on his wall. I asked him about it, and we just got talking. Come to find out, he'd written a song that was used in a movie called The Florida Cowboy, The Last of the Florida Cowboy, a documentary. And we just got talking about music, and he said, "Hey, one of Merle Haggard's boys is playing out here at the Turner Center this afternoon." He said, I can't remember which one. He said, "Let me look." He said, "You want to go out?" He said, "I'll buy you a ticket, man. You want to go out? We'll get to know each other a little bit. Go listen to him." I said, "Yeah. Which one is it?" So he said, he looked it up. He said, "Oh, it's Marty Haggard. You know him?" I said, "Well, actually, I do know Marty because I've cut several records on him." And I said, "And if he's here playing an acoustic show, his guitar player is one of his friends, and it's that Eugene that I was just telling you about."
Oh, okay.
Oh, very nice.
So I just called Eugene. Arcadia is not exactly on the main path. It's out in the middle of, it's in old Florida, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just called Eugene's phone. Of course, Eugene's from Nashville. I said, "Hey, Eugene Moles, this is Dave Sines." He said, "Hey, Dave, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, not much." I said, "Are you in Arcadia, Florida?" He goes, "Yeah, how did you know that?" I said, "Well, I'm in Arcadia too." So anyway, we went out and visited, and I was able to introduce Mac to Marty Haggard, Merle's boy, and to Eugene, and we all hung out and visited and whatever. And I just got acquainted with Mac, and over the years, we went to a couple of Christmas parties at their house, and I just got to know him and be friends with him, And I knew he wrote and played. I never paid that much attention. We'd sing around the campfire, drink some beer, and roast oysters and have fun. And he started a couple years ago. He was like, "Man, I got these songs. I just can't make a good recording." He said, "I don't know what to do. I really want to make a good recording." I wrote them. He said, "I don't know if they're just songs I love that I wrote. My family loves them and whatever." I said, "Oh man, I'll make a record for you. You're my bud, Mm-hmm. So I called some of my friends. That it was December. Nobody has any work. Said, "Hey, we've only got limited budget. You guys want to help me make a record on a buddy?" So we did one pretty fast, and some of the songs are not good commercial songs, but they're songs that mean something, you know what I mean?
Right.
But Mac's he's a very clever writer, and I started really listening, and then Beth, my wife, said, "Man, Mac's he's got a lot of depth as writing. Let's work with him a little bit." So collectively, we started working with him, and Beth in particular, just helping him kind of sweeten up or finish up, commercialize. I don't know, maybe just finish is the word she uses. Some of those tunes. He's got some good tunes. So he's got a project we just put out called Margarita Skies. Mm-hmm. And I think we've sent that up here, and Danny's probably got it. And I just sent Monday morning, we just sent out his second single called Southbound, which is
yes. I've heard Southbound.
Very cool tune.
I researched and I heard listened to some of his music, and when you talk about like the songwriting, he definitely is a storyteller.
Yeah,
and that's what I liked about that was, you know, your that story that he's telling with, and it just kind of falls. You kind of fall into that story.
Well, he really knows the whole Florida region. He's very passionate about it. Very passionate about the ecosystems there and so on and so forth. I mean, he's a good human being. But this record that we just put out. There's only the 2 songs that have been released. It's a real trop rock record, at least in my opinion. I know some folks, there's a lot of opinion about what's trop rock. I don't know. I just figure it's all music. If you like it, play it.
Right.
Yep.
You know, but there's some interesting songs. There's some stuff kind of like Randy Newman sounding on there. A little bit of stuff that's a little bit Carlos Santana-ish or Latin feeling. The Margarita Skies is really makes me think of... she was the Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass, a little bit. It's got that kind of Mexican flair with the trumpets, and it's interesting too. But so those 2, that's about all I have time to do at this point. I've had a number of people call me and ask me to make records on them, and I try to explain to them that it's not. I don't really do that. You know, MFG is not. You can't really call us and say, "Hey, how much do you charge to make a record?" That's not what we do. So we invest our own time and effort. Whether like Rudy, you've heard of some of Rudy Cox's record.
Oh, absolutely! I love Rudy.
Yeah. Rudy's great. It's a great record. Same with Jack Mosley. We're investing with our artists. We believe in them, and we sign those artists because we think that they're songwriters with depth, and that their potential goes way beyond any particular genre of music, which includes trop rock. Yeah. We tend to know that that's like most of the people that are playing in trop rock, the majority of them, it's a place you can get gigs if you want to play live. If you live especially around the coast, there's always a place to play. You can make a living doing it, and there are, thank God, stations like this that play our music. So the public gets a chance to hear it, and it helps us with touring and things like that.
Right.
But for us, a little bit like other things in trop rock genre at this time, it's a little bit of a labor of love. I've made a lot of records in my life. The majority of them on people that either had record deals at the time or had record deals and maybe were paying for their own products. Stars that didn't have deals anymore, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but at a high level with high level players, and so as I hear some of these artists, like a couple years ago, I heard Rudy Cox in with a bunch of other musicians, and the whole band and everything was good. But I just thought, man, that guy's just stands out from that whole group of guys, and they were all good. And I just thought he just stands out. I would love to record him. He's a great singer. I didn't know him. I'm there with some people I didn't know very well, and I'm shit-faced. And it's at a big thing. It's my first. I went to this big trop rock thing over Christmas, and I said to Beth, I want to sign that guy. I want to put that guy on our label. I'd already done a record on Jack Mosley at the time. And I said, I want to talk to him. So I said to our friends we were with, to Roger, I said, Roger, I was talking to Roger Beam. I said, Roger, you know that guy? He said, yeah, it's Rudy Cox. I said, I'd sure like to meet him. Would you introduce me? He said, yeah. Beth said, you're drunk. So first thing I said to Rudy Cox ever was, hey, my name's Dave Sines, and I'm really drunk. but man, I really love your singing and your songs. I love, and so I said, I'm drunk, so I'm just you just know that. But here's my card. I would love to talk to you about making a record sometime.
And I promise you, I'll remember you tomorrow.
So I'm trying to do one thing in particular. I enjoyed the trop rock world. I've been involved in boating and marinas and stuff for years. In addition, I've developed marinas and worked. It's a whole nother conversation. But I like that lifestyle. It fits me, and I think that there's a lot of good artists out there. I think there's some artists that, in my opinion, writing wise, especially because I'm partial to songwriters, are exceptional, and they're writing with a lot of depth. If you really listen to what they're writing about, you realize there's a whole nother level. Go back and listen to some of Jack Mosley's tunes. Listen to some of Beth Travers' song. Listen to what, like Happiness Comes in Waves is a good example for Beth. there's a whole message in there.
Yeah.
It's got a tropical theme, Yeah, it does. But there's a whole message about happiness in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And, for us, water and music both are spiritual things.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a very religious guy. I think I'm spiritual in my own way. But my goal, because I had these opportunities in my life, but when I was young, I had to be where I also didn't have access. I was around, I could hear it, but I didn't have access to record it or play it when I was young. And I made a few of those records when they call them custom records. You go and you make the whole record in one day, and it's a bunch of studio players, and they're all so good, they blow you away. And you don't realize how bad you are until the next thing you get home and you've ordered 500 records, and you get there and you listen to them and you go, that sounds awful. Why didn't somebody tell me I was out of tune? But that's what you got. And that is that was the whole Nashville custom record thing for years.
And that kind of seems like that's coming back.
Well, so a lot of, unfortunately, and it's I have to be really careful when I say this. So a lot of our trop rock friends are having to make records like that. And they're using some really fine players.
Mm-hmm.
I see names like Jimmy Carter, who's a bass player. Great. I mean, they're using good studios, good players. But it's the same thing. They have X amount of money that they can spend because, unfortunately, that's all they have. That's all that their profession in this genre of music allows them to be able to spend because they're all trying to feed families or the kids or pay a car payment, just live,
Right.
So they get the chance to make pretty good records, and the quality of them on some of them is good. And of course, you get artists, like Donnie Brewer, Erica Sunshine Lee. Their records are good. They sound great, and they work hard on them.
Yeah.
But I know Donnie has his own ability to record, but someone like Erica or Aubrey Wallet or Tim Campbell or some of our other friends, different artists that are out there, man, for them to go and make a record like we made on Rudy Cox. I mean, the players that are on that are not guys that you can go and play. These guys are like played with tons of rock and roll stars. I mean, they're like really high level players, and to even have access to those guys, but it's one thing. But to have access to them in a situation where you don't have to cut all the tracks in one day. And the way we work with artists is, we'll cut the tracks. They'll sing it. We work it. We don't make records in a week. It takes me about 2 months to make a record on somebody because when I think I've got about where I want, I just put it away for a few days. I don't listen to it. I don't give them tapes to learn the stuff. There's a lot of inspiration that happens. You should be able to give someone a record, in my opinion, and go, it's my CD. If they have the ability to do it, Beth and I at MFG, we can make that record on them. But you've got to have a high level of talent in your artist to be able to make a great record like that. I couldn't make that record, the record we made on Rudy Cox, I couldn't make that record on a lot of people. And it's not that they're not good, but Rudy has something exceptional in what he does, and I can't explain it. I don't know if there's a word for it. In Cajun, they talk like je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. There's something that he has, to me anyway, in his singing and his writing that just makes me go, damn, he gets a level deeper than most of us usually bother to think.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's communicating with us that aren't bothering to think that far.
Right.
That's a special writer. So for us with MFG, that's what I'm trying to do is give those people a platform that they're not going to be able to have otherwise. We're never going to make our money back on it. The amount of time we're spending $20,000 or $25,000 worth of studio time every time, plus paying the musicians, plus all the artist time. I mean, so they're not cheap records, and they take a while to make. So you can't just blast one out every week. It doesn't mean you can't go to Nashville and make a pretty damn good sounding record in 8 or 10 days, though, because you can.
Right.
But you're never going to have that time to. What we do is a lot of pre-production time. I make the artists sit with me and sing all their songs. They go, I'll send you a tape. No, bring your guitar and look at me. Sit on that chair. I'm going to sit about 4 foot from you. We're going to drink a few beers and we're talk because I want to know what's in your heart.
Right.
I want to know what you were thinking when you wrote that. My goal is for when I'm all done is for you to listen to your own record and go, that's exactly how I wanted to make that sound in my head, and I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You made it sound exactly like what I wanted. Then I know I've done my job. Because most of those people that are at that level, they may not know how to make records, but they've got a concept in their head. They know what that picture right there looks like in their head.
Right.
They might be able to describe it or quite paint it. So it's my job to figure out what the hell they're talking about. I can't really do it. So, without them being there. So a lot of records I know that are getting made today in the trop rock world, they'll have one person do this and then they send it on the internet. We used to joke about, hey, we'll call our part in, but they'd send it and they'd put another instrument in. And that technically that's all fine. It works well. The problem that I see in that is you have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different people in 5 or 6 or 7, 8 different places doing what they think would be best on the record from their standpoint. There's nobody in the room directing, going, "Oh no, we're going to do this here, so you can't play that there." So then you have all the stuff you've got to sort out. That's not how the records we think of the classics were not made that way.
Right.
Some of those aren't even technically, the classics aren't technically great recordings, but they're pieces of magic. And I don't think that enough of the people in the world of trop rock are getting the opportunity to have that magic, because it happens different when there's 4 or 5 players in a room.
Yep.
Not just people that can play, but people that have made hundreds of records.
Yeah.
That have that same deep connection. It's almost a spiritual thing, They're able to reach in and go, "Oh, I get it. Hey, what do you think of this?" And they add that one little thing that you're like, "Yes, that's it." But that doesn't happen if you don't get that connection. And it's not the same trying to do it over FaceTime or, you got to have the guys there in the room. Things happen. It's a different...
That chemistry comes together.
It's a chemistry, and it only happens that way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you do a lot with your artists, like Tikimanradio does, with sponsors and with their partners. They don't, as Tikimanradio, we only... If and Danny has said it several times, we get to know the person, we help with the brand and really work with the people that we feel are credible and their product is good and all of that stuff.
That's right.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you do with your artists. You don't just take anybody off the street.
You've got to know what they're feeling and hearing,
Yeah.
One of my questions I often ask is, if you had the perfect band, in your opinion, to do your music in the settings that you dream of doing it in a perfect world, who's in the band? What instruments are in the band? What instruments do you like? Because those are the instruments that you really want to use for that artist.
Right.
Because music is about emotion. I can make you or help you feel that emotion with 10 different instruments. It's his record or her record. What instrument do they like? You want me to feel, oh, that's so cool. Well, I can do that with a fiddle, or it can be done with a harmonic, it can be done with a B3, a piano, or a guitar. It can be done with but the important thing is the emotion gets conveyed. Right. But for the artist, it's like, so how do you, that may depend on what they already play or don't play, so that's a real personal thing, and it's the core of it tends to be similar for a lot of people, but the icing on the cake sometimes is a lot different.
Yeah.
Some people like Rudy, for example, we talked about steel guitar and horns, and B3. He said, yeah, maybe a little steel guitar. He said, I haven't really done much with it. He said, I don't know much, haven't done much with it. There's a B3, didn't really, and we didn't, and I'm a B3 player.
Oh, okay.
But we didn't use much on his record because it's not part of his sound. We did other things on his record that fit. But I watched him play a lot of times before I ever recorded him, and set in, same thing. He's like, I've got, songs I can put them down. I'm like, nah, just come on up. Let's just sit.
Yeah.
Let's just sit and play.
Yeah, because,
that's what you don't get if you do not, people. I'm saying this as information, not as you can't call me and hire me and give me money to make your record anyway. So I'm not trying to get anybody to do that. My point is, without an experienced producer, you will never get the record that you'll get with an experienced producer.
Right.
It's just like building a house. A lot of us guys could probably build a house. I mean, I can tell you I could build one, but I can't build a really pretty one. I can build one that you can live in and be functional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. A lot of people can make a record, and I list a lot of stuff, and I can tell you pretty much right off the bat if that was cut in a home studio, if it was cut in a real studio, if it was cut with people who make records all the time. If it's the first,
You got that ear for
well,
it.
it's been my whole life.
Right.
All the things I've done, in the studio is where I've spent my life. So Beth is the same way. I've worked a lot of records with her. Amazing ear, amazing player. Plus, she makes me put the Sailor Jerry's down in time to. It makes me act decent, or helps me, tries to help me act decent. But the whole MFG thing was really just something I wanted to do. So as with anybody, okay, you work in a business your whole life, and that's your income. Whatever business comes your way is what you take. That's what you do. I mean, a lot of it you may not like the artist, you may not like the music, but you can play it, and you do, and you're glad for the work. You may love the music and hate the artist. I've had that where I thought the artist was a total douche, but I loved his or her tunes, and I loved playing them. I didn't like working for him particularly, but I loved the music. So, at this point in my life, I'm probably that guy who, and I think Beth is probably less this way than I am, but to some degree, I've made a lot of records, and I've been on a lot of tours with famous people and done that whole thing. But by probably the time I was 45, I really just didn't want to do it anymore, which is how I got in the marina business.
Okay.
But the point is that in doing all that, you get to this point where you're in my generation or my age, I'm like, I probably really don't want to make a record on you unless I'd go fishing with you. Or call you to come to my house.
That's not a bad way to be.
Come sit by my fire. Let's cook some weenies over the fire and get your guitar, and we'll drink a little rum and have a little, just sit here and hang out. If I probably wouldn't hang with you, I probably not going to want to record you. It doesn't mean I don't think you're good. It just means I've done all that my whole life at a very high level. So if I'm going to do it at this point, it's going to eat up time, and I'm old, and I only have so much time that I want to invest in doing something.
Right.
And there's the business part of that, too. I know that at this point in this genre, there's not a ton of money out there for anybody. And some of our folks out there working really hard to try to promote Troprock Radio, and there's some really great artists out there beating their butts down the road all the time. It's hard. That's really hard work. People have no concept how hard that is. But and I appreciate them, and I wish them all the best, because we need to have that high level going everywhere for this ever to be a really accepted genre.
Right.
If it's not good enough, I mean, I'm grateful that stuff gets played for people that don't have access, because everybody has to start somewhere. We all did, and so I'm grateful that there's access, and I hope there continues to be. But until the majority of the stuff on Troprock Radio, in my opinion, is of the quality that you could play it on a mainstream country or pop station or hip hop, whatever the music feel is, I don't think it's really going to be an accepted a mainstream genre. I don't know how it can, because it can't compete. The listener can tell the difference nowadays. They may not know what it is, but they know stuff that sounds great and stuff that sounds, yeah, that's good, but for some reason it just doesn't sound as good as Kenny Chesney's record. But he sings so good, or she sings so good, because Kenny's got whatever budget he needs to make that record.
Right.
All the time he needs, and access to great players and great writers all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the key. It's not like go to Nashville, spend 10 days there, and hire some really fine players and make a record. That is not the same thing as all those fine players being your buddies. You've been able to call them and go, hey, Dave Rowe, hey, you want to come play on this thing? Oh, no, seriously, man. They come over, and now they want to be there. And when we cut, we stopped. Our studios are not commercial studios anymore. So we had 3 different big rooms in Nashville. I had one out north of town called House of Signs. I had one called the Nav Station down in Metro Center in the 90s. And then Beth and I had a studio, about 1,700 square foot room called Studio 215. So we sold all those commercial rooms. The last room we sold, Studio 215, we kept our gear. And we had bought a house in Florida. We Airbnb'd the upstairs of our house and put the studio in a much smaller setting downstairs. So we have a grand piano down there and a real console. I mean, you go, how'd you get all this crap in here? The piano is where we eat lunch. No, but we stop and cook. I mean, the guys. But you have to understand about these guys. I'm in my 60s, right? So these guys that are playing on these records, like Dave, the space player I was talking about, and then my other friend Stick, who I'm using, that's living in Florida. I was young with those guys. We were all starving at the same time. Like, do you know who Warren Haynes is?
Yes.
Okay, so Warren Haynes and Warren was in the David Allan Coe band, and this guy who owned the studio I was working at, his his girlfriend's daughter was dating the steel player in David Allen's band. Well, I had been to Europe with David Allen on another tour, but Warren was in David Allen's co-band, and this was just in the winter, probably 1980.
I didn't know he was in
8 or 2 or 3. Yeah, he was in David Allen Coe's band long before the Allman Brothers or any of that stuff. And we played at a place, me and him and 2 or 3 other guys, at a place called Shakey's Pizza Parlor in Franklin all winter for like $40 a night and all the pizza you could eat. Because we were in our 20s and none of us had any money. We were all starving.
He'll be at Riverbend. He'll be at Riverbend in June.
Warren's great. I hadn't seen him in years, and I didn't know anything about him.
I'll be as close up as I can get.
Yeah, he's a great player. But and that's kind of the difference for our artist at MFG is we're not just calling guys that we know are good players. Anybody can do that. Mm-hmm. Hell, you can go to the Union Hall in Nashville and get somebody to say, I need producers' names, and they'll give you a list of reputable people, and you'll get a good record, and you'll spend $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 doing it. And that's what it costs to make a record of that caliber. And it'll be good. But you've got a finite amount of time and a finite amount of money, and the musicians already know how to be great on day one. But if this is your first record or your second record, or you've not got a lot of time in the studio, you don't know how to be great. You haven't heard yourself on tape enough. The way it sounds in your head and the way it sounds when you play back in the speakers makes you go, is that really me? You've got to get past all that stuff when you're making records. So for the MFG artists, they really get time in the studio. The players are the easy part. But the players really invest and will always come back. I can send these things back and go, hey, can you change that solo on that? Here's what we did, and here's what I want to change, and here's why. And the players will remember the sessions we did because they're my buds. They're my friends. They're Beth's friends. So it's not just some guys we hired that anybody can hire.
They're not invested.
Yeah, they're like helping us build something. They get it, and they all came up like we did. And they also, at the point in their lives where we're doing this now because we love it. Okay, we made our money in the music business. We played for stars. We made a little money, put it back.
Now it's a labor of
so
love.
To be. So now we're just trying to do what we really love. And for us, Beth and I have always, what really got us together was sailing. We've always loved the water, loved music. We've and a lot of our friends the same way. So the combination of the whole tropical lifestyle and the music that's involved with it, and where we're at this point of our lives, is just a good fit. It's just like it just feels right and it feels natural. And then we've met friends like you all and Danny and Lynn, Tiki Man. It's like those people are just like us because everybody thinks that everybody so let's talk about NASCAR instead of music business. Same way, okay? You meet these NASCAR drivers and you think, oh my God, he's just another dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know so many country music stars that have way less, that were big stars, that had a lot of hit records, that had way less than I have because they were bad businessmen. And, people think, oh my God, he must be rich from it's an occupation. There's a few that are well off, obviously. The superstars are obviously are. A lot of the others, man, you've got a 10-year run that's pretty damn good, right? You had the 20 years before that you were trying to figure it out. And then you got another 10 years after your 10-year run that it's just not as good, and you start to realize this is going to come to an end. And now, so we laugh about this in Nashville. It's like, who's Dave Sines? Oh, give me Dave Sines. Oh, give me a young Dave Sines. and then the final stage is, who's Dave Sines? And it's a joke, but it's kind of it. So
we have another question. Somebody popped up here on my phone. Someone wants to know what's your thoughts on Alan Cooper.
I don't know who Alan Cooper is.
Don't know who Alan Cooper is. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you heard that out there then.
All right. Anything else?
No, we got Darby and Kathy out there.
Hey,
Darby
guys.
and Kathy Ledbetter. Darby is in full agreement with your opinion about the studio stuff. He and I have talked about that. Yeah,
it's absolutely right. I mean, I'm just telling you what I know to be. I learned this the hard way.
Yeah.
You have to have time. So this is how I learned this, really. Almost by accident. I've been doing sessions for 10 years and working at a high level with great players on great records. And I got an account with a Christian label doing karaoke tracks. Okay, so this was a serious money account. We were doing an album's worth of tunes every week in 3 different keys.
Wow.
So this was equivalent of we're cutting 3 albums a week, and this was like a steady gig. This went on for years. And we were hiring very, very, very fine players that could come in and blow it out. You know, they basically write it down. You've heard the whole narrative or seen some of it. Mm-hmm. You write it down and play it. And that's the guys and girls I was using with. And what would happen is over time you get in a pinch with somebody. Like, oh, this person can't. Okay, I'll sing this. Okay, I'll get. So that's kind of how some of the stuff happens. You put yourself on tape and you listen to it and you go, well, hell, that sounds as good as what I'm paying that guy to do. Why am I paying him? Well, what happens is over time you realize that when you start, you think you sound a certain way. I've had this happen a lot of times. You think you sound a certain way, and then you hear yourself back. You're like, I'm just having a bad day. And at some point, you have to realize that's how you sound, and you might hate it. But then you have to go, but everybody else says it's okay. So maybe everybody that sings or plays kind of has to go through that thing. I'm used to hear myself sing. When I hear myself talk, I was listening, going, is that really how I sound? You know?
I love the way you sing. I love that rasp in your voice. And
there's almost two notes that come out in one.
Yeah,
you have
it's
an
just
underlying
because I
tone in your voice.
My throat out. I'm probably more of a pop and rock and roll singer than anything, but I'm not like a screaming rock and roll singer.
Yeah,
I tend to be more blues, R&B oriented. I've listened to so much country. I love good country. I really love good traditional country because there's an art to playing it. It's very disciplined to be able to play it and play it well.
Yes.
You've got to be able to just hold back because it's all about that restraint. That singer.
Less is more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
Everything that you cannot play and still get across what you want to get across is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
That's kind of it.
Yeah.
You know, can you make that happen? Make them feel that without playing that? Yes, then don't play it because we don't need it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I absolutely love the studio. It's my favorite place. I can't ever imagine being without one. I was without one for a few years. I went through a divorce and, you know, had to start some things over, and it was like a very painful time.
Yeah.
It's like nowhere to go, let it out, really. You know?
Yeah.
And for me, I've always had a studio at my fingertips, so I'm going to get up in the middle of the night and go write stuff and, you know, just I can't imagine not. I travel usually with some kind of recording gear. You know, usually I've got something that I can actually. I used to travel with a portable mixer and a portable studio. I still travel with a laptop and an interface and a couple of really, really good mics almost all the time, just so that something hits me. I wrote this thing. It's on my new CD called Mahalo Hey La La. Say I wrote it with Beth, but. It just came to me, and I didn't have any recording gear. I recorded it in Portland, Oregon this summer while I was out. Recorded some of them and finished it in Florida at our studio there. But not having access to that gear for me would be like, you know, what? We're out of beer? What do you mean? No beer?
Well, before we wrap everything up, I want to get another song in here, a song off the Latitude Adjustment album there, Everything's Sunshine.
Everything's Sunshine.
Sometimes my feet go astray and I lose hope day by day, baby. Rainy skies and troubled times sure been clouding up my mind lately. So I just look to Mother Ocean when the storms arise. I know that the clouds will break and she'll send sunny skies. Everything's sunshine here today. I think maybe luck has turned my way. Everything's sunshine, turning up sunshine. All of my gray skies turn to blue ever since I laid eyes on you. Everything's sunshine, turning up sunshine. Birds are singing in the air, and I hear music everywhere, baby. Well, I didn't know it would take this long, but now everything seems like a song lately. So I'm turning on the radio, 'cause it makes me high. And rolling all the windows down, my, oh my. Everything's sunshine here today. I think maybe luck has turned my way. Everything's sunshine, turning up sunshine. All of my gray skies turn to blue. Ever since I laid eyes on you, it's all sunshine. Everything's sunshine. There was a time when everything would go my way. I think that time has finally returned to stay. Everything's sunshine here today. I think maybe luck has turned my way. Everything's sunshine.
Everything's sunshine.
It's all sunshine. All of my gray skies turn to blue. Ever since I laid eyes on you, it's all sunshine. It's turn up sunshine. Everything's sunshine. It's all sunshine. Everything's sunshine. All my gray skies have turned to blue. Ever since I laid eyes on you, it's all sunshine. Everything's sunshine. Oh.
That's right. Everything is sunshine.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Did I tell you, you've been a ray of sunshine for us tonight, Dave? I tell
Yes.
Gosh, what a wonderful time I've had.
you, we've had a blast having
What
you
a
in
better
here.
way to celebrate our anniversary, right?
What we've learned.
You know, it started off a little rocky, but I tell you, the conversation that we had, the things that we've learned about you, it's made it all worthwhile, you know?
I know. Whenever you all are in Nashville and you want some company, you let us know. We'll sit around the fire and drink some beer.
You all
And
just need to come up and visit. We were talking about doing that this week. We've got a fireplace up there, but there's no fireplace in Florida.
oh, well,
Plus, every
yeah.
time we say, hey, let's crank up the fireplace and sit in there and
Yeah.
play a little music.
Yeah, we would love to. We are planning on coming over to Nashville. We're going to talk to a few people over there, try to work on some business stuff. So maybe we'll hit you all up and see if you're over there.
Let us know anytime you're up if we're there. We'd love to see you. It'd be great.
Yep. So definitely thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much
for this
inviting me.
1-year anniversary show that didn't go as planned, but it still went.
Well, we love y'all. We love Tikimanradio. You know, we just think that this, in particular, and I'll speak specifically for myself. I know how Beth feels too, but she can speak for herself. I find it's good to not speak for other people, especially your other half.
Right.
I think Tikimanradio is the future of trop rock, plays the future of trop rock music already. I think trop rock music is in its infancy, and I think it's a great genre and it's really cool. And I think everything that's out there happening right now we need. But for me, when I listen to everything that's played on Tikimanradio, the variety of music and artists that are maybe newer artists or maybe not, Danny seems to be able to find a place for everybody to have an opportunity. And still, when you listen, you're like, hey, man, that's a pretty damn good station, ain't it? You know, I mean, so
we think so.
Yeah.
Same thing. And same thing with your show on Wednesday nights and with Scotty's show, B-Man's show.
Yep.
We just think it's got the right vibe. So that's why we support it. We love it. We believe in it. We will continue to support it.
No, we
really
greatly appreciate the Tropical Live Cam here every Wednesday. You know, we keep telling everybody, well, you know, if you're tired of looking at our faces, you can blame Dave Signs and Beth Travers for that.
Blame Beth, please. I've taken the blame all week.
Well, definitely thank you. Lou, do you have anything that you want to say before as we wrap everything up?
I just want to thank everybody for putting up with us for the last year. And really, you know, this started out as more your dream, I think, than mine. But it really has become a labor of love. And I really, really enjoy doing it with you, with Golden. meeting all the artists and just being on the radio, chit-chatting with everybody on the live chat. So thank you for that.
I wish you would let me come back in the future and let me interview you.
Oh, there you go.
That would be a great.
I'd be a pretty boring. I'd be a pretty boring.
No, trust
that's
me.
a
I'll get
future
stuff out
show
of
right there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a future show right there. I like it, Dave.
Okay. We'll see. We'll
Great
talk.
fun. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, thank you so
and
much.
Thanks for playing our artists and supporting us also.
Oh,
and all the
absolutely.
not just the MFG artists, but all the Troprock artists. We all need you badly. We're grateful.
Yep. When we started this show and we thought about the whole idea of tropical country, we kind of wrapped around like how are we going to fit country music into, because we had a lot of experience around Nashville and around the other artists and everything, and we're like, how can we, because trop rock was a new thing to us. We didn't know anything about it until we met Danny, and the more we met people and we listened to the music and got into that, it was like, so many of the trop rock artists have a country sound or a country vibe, because country music's always evolving.
Well, it is, and there's always, through the life of country music, there's always been songs about, Charlie Pride, You're My Jamaica.
Yes.
There's always been songs about it. So it's not something that's like a new thought. It's just the fact that artists have taken it and made it the main topic of their tunes.
Yeah, the theme.
The theme of what they write about.
Yeah.
The imagery that they use to convey the message they want is relayed in that fashion.
Yep. So that's
Palm
why
trees
when
and my time.
Yeah.
So that's when we came out. That's what we said. We're like, we're going to go out. We're going to play, your popular country music. We're going to play that independent country music, and also our coastal artists with a country vibe. And that's kind of how we kind of put it in a bow, and that's what we throw out there every week. So we get a little bit of everything.
Stuff. And there is a lot of it out there that has a little bit of country feel to it, and it's comfortable. It feels right.
Because like you said, Erica Sunshine Lee, she's country. She's country to me.
She is.
That's her sound. That's
her
what
sound.
I think.
And she's genuine. And she's a great artist, a great entertainer. I love her.
Absolutely.
I'm probably one of her biggest fans, and she doesn't even know it.
Well, she knows now.
Well, maybe if she's listening, she does.
Hopefully, she's listening.
Yeah, she's terrific.
Somebody will have to tag her to watch the replay. So
another good one.
All right. So with that, we need to let you know what is going on here with Tiki Man Radio the rest of the week coming up. But first, Golden, you have anything you want to add? You're awful quiet.
I'm just
say something, man.
I'm kind of a little starstruck here.
Yeah.
Listen to all the stories, listen to everything, absorbing it all. It's just been fantastic.
Oh,
Listen
man, don't
to
be
you, Dave.
starstruck. You may have to drive me home. By the time you drive me back to Nashville, you won't be starstruck anymore.
Right.
Where can I get this guy out of my truck?
Well, he shut the hell
I know, right?
I really enjoyed it. I keep searching YouTube here, trying to find some more questions and stuff. But there's just a lot of people out here that are saying, "Hey, we love what you're doing. We love hearing your stories. We love hearing the behind the scenes." And let's see,
everybody
and
seems to really enjoy it.
Thanking you for sharing, your knowledge and the things that go on.
I absolutely love being on the show. It's great. Thanks. It's fun. It's fun to sit and talk and reminisce. And
it's fun. I know we haven't played a ton of music tonight, but I love the fact that we've had time just to talk.
Yeah.
And hear those stories.
Absolutely. And Eric Smith wants to know if this is recorded. All of our shows are recorded, including this one. So yes, Eric, you can definitely direct some friends to check it out. Everybody can feel free to share the YouTube link, have them check it out on SoundCloud. It's
you don't
always
have to
out
buy
there.
SoundCloud. It's available on the free version of SoundCloud. So all the Tiki Man Radio shows are available for replay on SoundCloud.
Yes, and our show in particular is available on YouTube forever. So
if we want it to or not,
whether we like it or not, we love it though. But yeah, so it will be back up on YouTube. So everybody feel free to share the link to our page, and invite everybody to take a listen to Dave.
Yeah, and coming up on future programming here here on Tikimanradio. You know, the weekend gets started early here, and it gets started with Jen Shen and the Friday Kickoff, Fridays at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it is sponsored by Collington Creek Inn in beautiful Outer Banks, North Carolina. And then, of course, later on Friday night, that is Island Vibes with Scotty Chill, you know, brought to you by the Allen Maltz Gallery and Castaway Sauce Company, which I hear Golden's been doing some cooking with.
A little. I have more recipes to come.
Yeah. And then, of course, as always, on Saturday, Ed the Train Man's favorite, it's Jukebox Saturday morning. Complete all those shagging on the beach music songs and with those retro commercials. As the Tiki Man says it, that starts when you get up there, Buttercup. And Sunday mornings, it's the big show. It's Sunday Mornings with the Tiki Man, brought to you by a whole slew of sponsors on the Island J webcam and Beachbuddahcoffee, JBL Legends, Reggae Wines, MFGRECORD. The list just goes on and on and on. And that's brought to you every Sunday, 10 a.m. right here on Tikimanradio. And then coming around back to the beginning of the week, you start your week out on Tuesday. It surfs up with Mr. Cool and the Student Crew every Tuesday, 7 p.m. right here on Tikimanradio. That's 4 p.m. over on the Pacific side for all you people out there in California. And that show is actually sponsored by JBL Legends Travel and Beachbuddahcoffee. And it's a full lineup around here in Tikimanradio. And of course, as always, we will be back here next Wednesday. Hopefully, all the hiccups, everything, it's done. Hopefully. But with that, I want to get the camera over there in the corner.
One.
Oh, yeah, we forgot.
You forgot something.
Who did I forget?
Me.
Tomorrow night.
He did it on purpose.
All right, Golden. Hold on.
That hurt, didn't it?
Sorry, I don't.
It cut a hole.
Man.
Hey, I got to get a banner
He's
for you. I'm
barbecue
sorry.
sauce over here.
You do realize
barbecue sauce.
I created all those banners. I created all those banners because after I inadvertently miss the title of Mr. Cool's show there,
yes.
I did all these nice banners so that I could read them. I wouldn't make any mistake, and then I forgot my best friend.
Hell, I got one behind you. No, my second video kicks off tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on YouTube.
Are they going to be doing? Are you going to be doing like every week at the same time?
Whenever he wants to drop it, he's
okay.
a slot for it. I think he's just feeling it out and seeing when the best time to drop it is.
Okay, so this week's is tomorrow night at 7.
Tomorrow night at 7.
All right, that's good to know. Tomorrow night at 7, the newest edition of Cooking with Golden.
Yeah.
Do you want to give any hints as to what it is?
No, the preview's already out.
The preview's out. Okay.
Not the preview, but the reminder's already out. So.
All right.
It's out on YouTube. You can go check it out.
All right. Well, I'm going to put the camera over here in the corner so everybody can say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week. And as always, it's last song, last call.
Have a good week, everybody.
See you next week, everybody.
I know it's been a lot of fun, but the set list is all done. The night was very loud and you've been a good crowd, but you know it's time to run. You've all been very kind, thank you for your time. You put me to the test as I try to address all of your requests for the night. As we look to the moon and the manager's protocol. Well, I don't ever want to end, but for now, my friends, last song, last call. A spirit with his clientele, and the drinks are flowing well. A beer sent from the bar and a healthy tip jar. Handsome tunes that I can sell. It's been a cool room, but it's ending too soon. And they remember to tip the bartender as they surrender to the tab. And they lip sync to the lyrics that
they used to recall. Anytime I gotta say those words, oh no, last song, last call. Some came as ones and left by twos. Some still are dancing in their shoes. I break down the gear as we wind it up here. After the last song that I choose, it's the last ride near closing time. The final round chord as I strum the last chords, and the guitar returns to the case. Needless to say, it was a pleasure to play for you all. Here's to toast to everyone as I finally say last song, last call. Here's a toast to everyone as I finally say last song, last call.